Chad, what we doing? Chad, double tap the screen, shut a live out, man. All right, Chad, where we at, man? Double tap the screen on your way in. Chat, y'all locked, man. We got an action-packed episode, man. I got some monologue for y'all tonight, man. We got some clips. We're gonna pipe up tonight, Chat. I need y'all to double tap the screen on your way in, man. Tell a friend, Chat. Tell a friend. Hold on, let me make sure my audio's all together, man. Wow, y'all couldn't hear me. Could y'all hear my audio, Chat? Could y'all hear the music? Damn, I don't even know if y'all can hear that shit, bro. Did y'all hear the music, bro? But yeah, Chad, I'm gonna do some monologue, man. We're gonna get into some clips. We're gonna talk about Rubio. We're gonna get into what Trump said. We're gonna get into all of that, Chad. But y'all know what time it is. Go lock in.
Welcome to the greatest damn show on
I
YouTube.
can't hear nothing. What? Oh, that shit a little loud, man. What's up with my sound? That shit a little loud, Chad. Can y'all hear me, Chad? Can y'all hear the tag right there, Chad? No, I couldn't hear that shit a while ago, man. All right, chat. But yeah, like I said, man, we got a lot to get into today. We got a lot going on, especially in the grand scheme of things globally, man. We got attacks going everywhere in the Middle East. We got all kind of countries getting involved. We got Macron saying that France is about to start making all kind of nuclear warheads. They're not going to disclose it to anybody. It's going down, chat. But what we're going to talk about first, leading into the show, I'm gonna do a little monologue about this soft launch into the war in Iran, just like they did a soft launch into the Venezuela situation that I spoke about before, which was kind of a soft launch into going in and getting El Mencho and all of that as well. But we're gonna get into that soft launch with Iran, this Islam, man. Let's get into it, man. Um, so what do we see go on? We just seen the guy, the shooter in Austin, Texas, went crazy. He's from Senegal. Like I spoke on before, if he's from Senegal, he should have been a Sunni Muslim, unless he was Lebanese. In that aspect, he could have been a Shia Muslim. But let's go all the way back to Nick Shirley and the Somali fraud. We can go all the way back even before Nick Shirley and the Somali fraud. What did we have? We had Dearborn, right? Did we not have Dearborn? You said, yeah, you can hear me, but I'm low. What? It's no way that I'm low, bro. It's just no way that I'm low, bro. Is my volume a little louder? All right. You said yeah, but sounds low. Plug in the building. You the only one saying I sound low, Jared. I don't know, man. Your shit be loud as fuck anyway, so I can imagine why you said I'm low. Because when you get on here, you be loud as hell. But back to it though. We're gonna get into that soft launch, man. When we look at Dearborn, Michigan, we had it going on in Dearborn, Michigan. They were talking about the 5 a.m. calls to prayer. We covered it over here. They were talking about the police department with the Arabic logos and everything like that. We seen that go on. That's a soft launch. They wanted to test public reaction. Hindsight's 2020. Then we moved straight into Minnesota with the Somali fraud. We seen Renee Good lose her life. We seen Alex Pretty lose his life. We seen Bovino and Christy Nome and all of these people saying domestic terrorism. That was the running theme through it, was domestic terrorism. But when we look at it being called domestic terrorism, whether there were liberals on the corner protesting, whoever was on the corner protesting, it all spawned from the deportations, the mass immigrations. And the reason they went to Minnesota is the Somali fraud, correct? Right or wrong? Okay. So when we get into that, that's where we get the blurring the lines between the Shia Muslims and the Sunni Muslims. You know, we can go back. We've seen this shit go on before 9/11. I'm just going to say it. When I was growing up, I didn't know the damn difference. I didn't know what was going on. So I believe that was a soft launch. I believe that was a soft launch to sway public opinion, see how far that the country will go in public perception, looking at it as not just a race or a group of people being the Somalis. It wasn't just an attack on the Somali fraud. What were they saying? Death to Islam. We need to get all the Islam out of the country. We seen Valentina Gomez do her thing, burning the Quran, going up there doing it. I'm not a Muslim either, Chad. I'm just calling this shit how I see it. We seen Jacob Long go with the bacon and and all of that crazy stuff. We just seen it and it was amplified. We seen Nick Shirley do the Somali fraud video, the most viewed video on X, right? Leading up to what? The U.S. getting involved in this war in the Middle East. Now, I had a couple arguments, well, not arguments, but a couple discussions in my comments and in the community tab post. A lot of people are saying that Islam is detrimental to America. They don't care if it's Sunni Islam, they don't care if it's Shia Islam, they just want it out. And I'm saying that there is the psyop. We've seen it go on before. We've seen it grow on in the Crusades. A lot of those people were exiled. A lot of the Jews were exiled at that time too. We've seen it go on post 9/11. The only difference is here is that they're black looking people. They're black people. So before, when we look at the 9/11 and everything post 9/11, it was all Arabs. Everybody was looking at the Arabs. Everybody was thinking, oh, what's gonna go on? You know, looking around. Now it's a different face. That's where you get this guy in Austin that would look to be black from Senegal, which should have been a Sunni Muslim, wearing the Property of Allah shirt and the Iranian flag up under it. What the fuck does he have to do with Iran? Let's just be honest, unless he was Lebanese. We've seen these kind of things go on. Whether you want to call them false flags, whether you want to call them psyops, whatever, it's to sway public opinion. Now we see Trump. Yesterday I came out and said what? That boots on the ground weighs heavy on public opinion. We get Trump's response today. Trump said he doesn't care about the polling. How could Trump not care about the polling if he said the polling was the reason that Tom Homan came in and got Bovino out of Minnesota? Because the polling was bad. Democrats held up the fund and the polling was bad. But now when it comes to putting American boots on the ground in Iran, which Iran wants, by the way, they want American boots on the ground, polling doesn't matter. American opinion doesn't matter. I don't know, Chad. I've been sitting here thinking about this today, and it's just a little bit crazy to me. What's up, Delphine? Solo, what do you mean that's correct? It's just a little bit crazy to me. That he's saying it doesn't matter. Iran wants boots on the ground because that's the only way that they get a win in the situation. That's the only way that they get a win in the in public opinion. Not saying that they'll win the war, but in public opinion, if they get off, a nice attack and something that they could say, they're, chanting the death to Americans and shit too. That's the only way they get those type of quote unquote rally cries or whatever going on, is if we put boots on the ground. And now today, now more than ever, it's more of a reality. We seen Rubio saying that we'll stay as long as it takes. We seen Trump say that it could be 4 to 5 months. When it started off, this was supposed to be a 3-week operation, right? You said Qatar shut down their oil and gas. Yeah, I heard. I heard. I also think that this is biblical. I dropped a short earlier. The algorithm suppressed it, but when you look at the timing of all of this, we seen that all the strikes started on Friday, right? About Friday, was it Thursday? Friday, right? Strike started, right? We got the blood moon coming in the morning. So you go from the strikes happening, then you got the blood moon here. The strikes are ongoing, right? They're ongoing. Now you go into the Bible or you go into the Torah, and then you look at the countries that are involved. You look at the U.S. What are we been hearing over the last year? This is a Christian nation. This nation was built on Christianity. You go to the Middle East and Israel. That's Judaism, right? So you go to Acts 2:7, 17 through 21, when Peter was speaking about what Joel had said, what was he talking about? The end times, the prophecies, right? What did he say? Smoke, blood, the sun blocked out, and the blood moon. The blood moon. When I seen that the blood moon was coming tomorrow, it all clicked, Chad. It was like, wow. Then I hear Rubio get on stage and say that Israel was going to attack regardless. So it was about if America was going to be actionary or reactionary in that point, because Israel was going to attack and Iran was going to respond by attacking the U.S. So it was already going to go on. It was going to be lasting for at least days, maybe weeks or months, or it could be ongoing, or right around the time of the blood moon. This is prophecy that they're trying to fulfill, or that's being fulfilled, however you want to look at it, Chad. Let me pull it up, Chad. Hold on. Let me pull it up right quick. No, we need the King James version, bro. Hold on. Y'all double tap the screen while I'm getting this together. We finna get to the clips in a minute. I've told y'all, I promised y'all I'll be doing some more monologues. Trying to adhere to my promises. All right, this is what it says. We'll start on 17. And it shall come to pass in the last days, saith God, I will pour out of my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and daughters shall prophesy. Your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams. And on my servants and on my handmaids I will pour out in those days of my spirit, and they shall prophesy. This is where it gets real. This is where it gets to the timeline. It says, and I will shew wonders in the heaven above and signs in the earth beneath, blood and fire and vapor of smoke. We see that going on right now in the Middle East. We see blood, fire, and vapor of smoke. That's all excuse my language, that's all we see right now in the Middle East. Going to 20, the sun shall be turned to darkness, and the moon into blood, before the great and notable day of the Lord to come. So that's Peter speaking of Joel's prophecy. And I believe that that is for the timeline. That's why we get it on this timeline. Attacks happen on Friday. Rubio saying that basically the attacks were going to happen whether America got involved or not, man. Shit is prophecy, man. It's crazy, Chad. This is wild just sitting here looking at this, breaking it down. Double tap the screen, shut a live out, chat. We're gonna get into it, man. We're gonna get into it. Let's get into the episode, man. I just wanted to sit down and share that monologue with y'all, man. Let y'all know that I believe that this was all a soft launch. The Somali fraud, the Dearborn shit was all a soft launch into what we have going on in Iran and public opinion, to sway public opinion leading to boots on the ground. Oh, Hillary Clinton testified today too, Chad. Well, not testified, but they released her testimony. And then this is what I don't get to either, Chad. It's like we sit here talk about all of this damn terrorism abroad and everything, but it's like a lot of this shit is fucking state funded. Like, look at this. Like, did we forget that this went on, man? Did we forget that a lot of this shit is state funded, man? Our taxpayer dollars are going to fund a lot of this terrorism and shit. I think we might have forgot that. Come on now, chat. That's what we gotta put all this shit on the floor, man. I know a lot of y'all don't want to hear it, but we gotta put all this shit on the floor, man. Double tap the screen, shut a live out. We're finna get into what Macron said. I hope he didn't say this shit in French, man, because I'm not gonna be able to understand it. He probably did make this speech in French. I knew I was gonna get shadow banned after I posted that shit earlier, chat. So basically, he's saying that they're about to start building nuclear warheads, loading up their damn arsenal, and they're not going to disclose what the hell they got over there, chat. So we're seeing the global landscape shift, and it's shifting rapidly, man. It's shifting rapidly. Let's get into what Rubio said before we get into all the other shit, man. Chat, this shit is crazy the way the world is shaping out, man. You got Macron saying that they're about to start pumping all the damn nukes that they can to be strong. This shit is wild, bro. So what the hell is Rubio talking about? They can build 100 missiles a month. We can only build 6 or 7 interceptors. So what does that mean? Does that mean we've lost control of the situation? What does that mean? They can build 100 and we can only build 6 or 7. So what is that? Why Trump's contemplating boots on the ground? The fuck is going on? Oh, y'all can't hear it either? The sound on my source is off. What the fuck is going on? Then how was y'all just hearing the other video? How was y'all just hearing the other video, but now y'all can't hear this one? This shit is wild, bro. Can y'all hear it now?
For a very long time. And by the way, they've been doing it under sanction. You see the attacks they're conducting right now? They're attacking airports. They're attacking hotels. They're hitting not just military bases. They're attacking our embassies directly. They're attacking facilities that have nothing to do with war or with military. And that's a weekend Iran. That's in Iran despite years of they would have to inflict damage on us. It's an unacceptable risk, especially in the hands of a regime that's
Y'all
run
didn't
by
hear the other
radical
one
clerics.
either. Y'all didn't hear Macron either. Now y'all can hear it, but I can't fucking hear it. Why can't I hear it now when y'all can? Chat. Shit is crazy. Hold on. I'm going to my damn settings right quick. Who unsubscribed? I ain't gonna lie, that shit just pissed me off. Who unsubscribed? All of this shit's way when you stream it. Oh, God. Okay. Okay. Hold on, chat. We getting this shit together, man. The hell is that? I need to pull up my wavelength. That's what it is. I see additional output, headphones, monitor mix. What the fuck is going on? Yo.
The Ayatollah was a radical cleric. That entire regime is led by radical clerics who don't make geopolitical decisions.
Can
They
y'all
make
hear it
decisions
now?
on the basis of theology, their view of theology, which is an apocalyptic one. That has to be
Chat, can
taken
y'all
very
hear it now?
seriously as well. So that
Press 1 if you can hear it now, chat. Damn, I done lost it in chat. I got a lot going on. It's from that StreamYard live. I shouldn't have done that. All right, y'all can't hear it now? Y'all can hear Rubio? Can y'all hear Rubio talking? Not me, but Rubio.
That was the purpose for what this operation is all about. That's what it's focused on. As the president said earlier today, it is on or ahead of schedule. I will defer to the department.
All right, so listen. Now y'all can hear it. Listen to what the fuck Rubio just
and it can
said.
inflict so much damage that no one can do anything about their nuclear program. That is what they were trying to do, is put themselves in a place of immunity where the damage they could inflict on the region would be so high that no one can do anything about their nuclear program or their nuclear ambitions. They are producing, by some estimates, over 100 of these missiles a month. Compare that to the 6 or 7 interceptors that can be built a month. They can build 100 of these a month, not to mention the thousands of one-way attack drones that they also...
So that's what I'm saying, chat. What the fuck is Rubio saying? They can build 100 of these. We can only build, damn, 6 or 7 interceptors. What is Rubio talking about? Plus the 1,000 of one-way attack drones. Rubio, are you saying we don't have control of this situation? The fuck is going on, man? I seen Israel roll out that laser beam shooting them down, but what are you saying? Is this why Trump's saying he don't care about public opinion on, he don't care about the polls on boots on the ground? The fuck?
They've been doing this for a very long time, and by the way, they've been doing it under sanction. You see the attacks they're conducting right now? They're attacking airports. They're attacking hotels. They're hitting not just military bases. They're attacking our embassies directly. They're attacking facilities that have nothing to do with war or with military. And that's a weekend Iran. That's in Iran despite years of sanction. Imagine a year from now or a year and a half from now, the capabilities they would have to inflict damage on us. It's an unacceptable risk, especially in the hands of a regime that's run by radical clerics. The Ayatollah was a radical cleric. That entire regime is led by radical clerics who don't make geopolitical decisions. They make decisions on the basis of theology, their view of theology, which is an apocalyptic one. That has to be taken very seriously as well. So that was the purpose for what this operation is all about. That's what it's focused on. As the president said earlier today, it is on or ahead of schedule. I will defer to the Department of War to discuss the progress being made at a tactical level, but it was the right decision and an important decision for the safety and security of the world.
Does Congress have to weigh in? Is the president declaring war? Does Congress
No.
have to weigh in? And
What?
was there an
What?
imminent threat? Did you tell lawmakers that there was an imminent
There
threat?
absolutely was an imminent threat, and the imminent threat was that we knew that if Iran was attacked, and we believed they would be attacked, that they would immediately come after us. And we were not going to sit there and absorb a blow before we responded.
Now y'all see what I said, chat? This is where it all comes. Listen.
There absolutely was an imminent threat, and the imminent threat was that we knew that if Iran was attacked, and we believed they would be attacked, that
We knew that if Iran was attacked and we believed that they would be attacked, listen,
they would immediately come after us.
they would immediately come after us.
And we were not going to sit there and absorb a blow before we responded, because the Department of War assessed that if we did that, if we waited for them to hit us first after they were attacked, and by someone else, Israel attacked them, they hit us first, and we waited for them to hit us, we would suffer more casualties and more deaths. We went proactively in a defensive way to prevent them from inflicting higher damage. Had we not done so, there would have been hearings on Capitol Hill about how we knew that this was going to happen, and we didn't act preemptively to prevent more casualties and more loss of life.
So they knew that Israel was going to attack regardless. Now, the date, the timing is why I'm taking y'all back to this biblical, man. I'm telling y'all this is biblical. They wanted to attack them right before the blood moon, so there could be all of that, man. There could be blood and fire and smoke. Blood, fire, and smoke. The sun would be blocked out by the damn, y'all know, smoke and shit, because all of this bombs and shit's going off. They said they've already let off 20,000 bombs over there. And the blood moon.
What?
The blood moon.
Was forced to strike because of an impending Israeli action?
No, first, well, let me tell you what I would say. Number one is, no matter what, ultimately, this operation needed to happen. That's the question of why now. But this operation needed to happen because Iran, in about a year or a year and a half, would cross the line of immunity, meaning they would have so many short-range missiles, so many drones, that no one could do anything about it because they could hold the whole world hostage. Look at the damage they're doing now. And this is a weakened Iran. Imagine a year from now. So that had to happen. Obviously, we were aware of Israeli intentions and understood what that would mean for us, and we had to be prepared to act as a result of it. But this had to happen no matter what.
Secretary, President Trump
What's up, Drew?
His top choices to now run Iran were killed in the strikes. So the United States have a firm plan for how they intend to handle this power vacuum in Iran to ensure that an Irish hardliner does not take power.
So two things, and two things can be true. Number one is our mission and our focus is the destruction of their ballistic missile capabilities and their ability to manufacture them, as well as the threat posed by their Navy to global shipping. That's our objective. That said, we would not mind, we would not be heartbroken, and we hope that the Iranian people can overthrow this government and establish a new future for that country. We would love for that to be possible. But the objective of this mission is the destruction of their ballistic missile capabilities and of their naval capabilities. Yeah.
So are you saying, based on that, are you saying that there is no responsibility, no plan for the U.S. to at least play a role in whatever government comes next?
We might. We'll see how circumstances play out. But I'm telling you what the objectives of this operation are. The objectives of this operation.
I'm not gonna lie, Rubio he's talking very authoritative, but he sounds a little shaky, chat. Is that just me? Rubio sounds a little shaky. He's like he's trying to talk with authority to override the little shakiness he got going on. He knows he's in the fucking hot seat.
Are to destroy their ballistic missile capability and make sure they can't rebuild it, and make sure that they can't hide behind that to have a nuclear program. That's the objective of the mission. That said, abundantly clear, we would love for there to be an Iran that's not governed by radical Shia clerics.
What's up,
I've
Matt?
said myself repeatedly for years, the leadership of that country does not reflect the people of Iran, and I think that's been pretty apparent in the protests that you've seen. If there's something we can do to help them down the road, we'd obviously be open to it, but that's not the objective. The objective of this mission is the destruction of their ballistic missile capability.
James, nobody saw your question because obviously YouTube blocked it because you said some bullshit. I seen you said hi, and then you said, can someone answer my question? So if you already asked your question, YouTube blocked it because you saying some shit you don't need to be saying up in here.
The United States.
The what now?
Regime change has not gone well for the United States for many, many decades. How do you assure the American public that things will not get worse for the next regime that comes in there and replaces the
Well, we would love to see this regime be replaced. And ultimately, as the president has said, he calls, no, but let me finish my answer. As the president said, he would love for the people of Iran to use this as an opportunity to rise up and remove these leaders. They've been wanting to remove them from a long time. We've seen successive waves of protests, and we've seen them slaughter people, okay? But the objective of this
No, North Korea is not Muslims. North Korea is
mission is
not
to make sure
Islam. USA is not scared to attack North Korea. The USA just doesn't have a religious motive to attack North Korea. This shit that we're seeing play out right here, chat, is biblical, man. I don't know if y'all understand this shit or not, bro, but this is biblical. North Korea is not involved, man. Not in this sense.
they don't have these weapons that can threaten us and our allies in the region. That's why we're doing what we're doing now. And while we would love to see a new regime, the bottom line is no matter who governs that country.
Do I think Trump is communist? No, I don't think Trump is communist. Why do I not think Trump is communist? Is because a lot of capitalist shit is going on around Trump. If Trump was a communist, we probably all have fucking free healthcare right now, free school lunches, and some more shit going on. Just being honest.
A year from now, they're not going to have these ballistic missiles and they're not going to have these drones to threaten us. That's the objective of this mission, is to deny them the ability to.
Trump didn't say no boots on the ground this time. Trump just changed his tune. Trump said he don't give a damn about what the polling says when it comes to boots on the ground. He cares not about the polling.
Use ballistic missiles to threaten their neighbors, to threaten our bases, to threaten our presence in the region, and ultimately as a shield behind which they can do whatever they want with their nuclear weapons ambition. We were not going to let them hide behind that, and that's why this was such a critical mission to undertake now while they were at their weakest point, and not a year from now where they could inflict even more damage and perhaps already be behind that point of immunity. Go right here behind. Go ahead, you and then you. Yes.
Your critics in Congress have said that they should have a role, they should be able to weigh in here, and there are going to be war powers resolutions votes in Congress later this week. Why not notify Congress ahead of this, and just Congress?
Well, we did. We notified Congress. I mean, we notified the Gang of Eight. We notified congressional leadership. There's no law that requires us to do that. The law says we have to notify them 48 hours after beginning hostilities. We've done that. I think the notification went today. But we did notify members of Congress in advance. But we can't notify 535 members of Congress. And, well, the Congress can vote on whatever they want, but there's no law that requires us to do that. And I want to say something because I see people on TV. Look, that's fine. If they want to take a war powers vote, they can do that. They've done that. They've done that a bunch of times. But there's no, people keep saying that there's no law that requires the president to do anything with regards to this. To begin with, no presidential administration has ever accepted the War Powers Act as constitutional. Not Republican presidents, not Democratic presidents. That said, we have followed the notification at 48 hours. We're here today. I've done more Gang of Eight briefings than I got in the 4 years that Biden was president and I was a member of the Gang of Eight. All of that said, we've complied with the law 100%. And we're going to continue to comply with it. We've done the notification, and we officially to Congress, but we did notify members of Congress. We just can't notify 535 people. That's not possible, but we did the Gang of Eight twice. I briefed them last week, and then I called them the night before the operation.
Can you tell us what you know this sector of administration knows about a strike on a building in southern Iran? The Iranians are saying that the school reports large including children killed.
Yeah, I've seen those reports. I don't have, I would refer you, not because I'm not trying to answer your question, but I don't want to get it wrong. The Department of War would be investigating that if that was our strike. And I would refer your question to them, and I'll make sure they're aware that you have that question. But we'd like to know. Well, clearly, the United States would not deliberately target a school. Our objectives are missiles, both the ability to manufacture them and the ability to launch them, and the one-way attract drones. That would be our focus, and that's what we would be focused on. We would have no interest and, frankly, no incentive to target civilian infrastructure. The Iranians are, on the other hand, targeting civilian infrastructure. You guys have seen it. I'm sure you've seen it. They're hitting hotels. They're hitting embassies. They're hitting airports. They're hitting oil infrastructure. Well, it'd be very tragic, but I can't speak to the details behind it because I just don't have it. It would be a tragic outcome if it's happened. I don't have the details as to what led.
Yeah, this situation is going to get bad fast because right now they're saying the leadership in Iran is so fractured and split. They've taken out the Ayatollah. They've taken out all of the top leadership. So now there's splinter groups. There's splinter groups, and they're all operating autonomously. They all have these weapons. They all are able to shoot missiles and rockets, and they do not have to go through a chain of command to make these assaults anymore. Shit is gonna get bad, chat. The fallout will be tremendous, man.
To it. But what is clear that the United States would not deliberately target a school. They are, on the other hand, deliberately targeting civilians, as you've seen, because you know why? They are a terroristic regime. They sponsor terrorism and they participate in terrorism. Fine.
It's crazy that he just said they sponsor terrorism and they participate in terrorism. It's like, brother man, did we not just play the clip of all the damn terrorism that USAID has funded? I mean, damn, it went from Somalia to the Middle East to every fucking where, man. Like, are we just not gonna forget about that, man?
We're concerned about rising energy prices given the spiking of oil prices today.
Yes, and we knew that going in would be a factor, and so we have a program in place that will begin to be implemented by Secretary Wright, Secretary Bessent. We talked about it last night, again, about this program. We talked this morning, and starting tomorrow, you will see us rolling out those phases to try to mitigate against that. Obviously, markets are going to be reacting to news about what's happening. And again, a reminder, think about it, okay? This terroristic regime led by radical clerics has the ability, potentially, to shut off 20% of global energy. That's the kind of leverage they have because of their Navy. We're going to destroy their Navy. But there is a plan in place. We anticipated this could be an issue, and Secretary Wright and Bessent will begin to roll out those steps starting tomorrow to mitigate against the impact that could have. I got to do this briefing, so I got a couple more. Yeah.
Do you anticipate putting boots on the ground, and how long do you anticipate the conflict to last?
Well, we don't. Let me say two things about it. Number one, the president always has the options to undertake whatever operations he decides to do as the commander-in-chief. That said, we believe the objective that we have set for this mission, which is the destruction of their ballistic missile capabilities, both launch capability and manufacturing, can be achieved without ground forces. Right now, we're not postured for ground forces, but obviously the president has those options. He's never going to rule out anything. But right now, our focus is on the destruction of their ballistic missile launchers, their ballistic missile stockpiles, and their ballistic missile manufacturing capability, as well as their one-way attract drones and their Navy, because of the threat it poses to global shipping.
How long is
Right, I can only do one more. Right there in the middle. Yes, sir.
Diplomatic exchange going on right now between the U.S. and Iran? Any exchanges whatsoever outside of
No, not at this time. I mean, look, we always have people that reach out from inside of governments. You don't know if they're authorized to reach out or not. They're suffering a tremendous amount of damage. Honestly, again, I'm not going to give away the details of our tactical efforts, but the hardest hits are yet to come from the U.S. military. The next phase will be even more punishing on Iran than it is right now. Someone was screaming, how long will it take? I don't know how long it'll take. We have objectives. We will do this as long as it takes to achieve those objectives, and we will achieve those objectives. The world will be a safer place when we're done with this operation. All right? Thank you, guys.
Moments ago, I sat down with America's partner in this joint operation, the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. Take a look.
Now we got Netanyahu doing his U.S. press run, man. I wonder, let me stop.
Joining us now is the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. Mr. Prime Minister, thank you for being here. I know you probably have gotten very little sleep in the last number of days. Why now? What precipitated this moment at this time? I know you have talked about it. We've known each other 30, 35, maybe more years. And why at this point was this necessary?
Well, the first thing to understand is why it's necessary at any time. Iran, for 47 years, has been chanting death to America, death to Israel too. But you're the big Satan, we're the small Satan. Death to America. They've murdered and maimed thousands of Americans in Iraq and Afghanistan with their IEDs. These are roadside bombs. They've bombed your embassies. They tried to assassinate Donald Trump, the president of the United States, twice. They've murdered their own people. They massacred so many. And they spread a worldwide web of terror. So this is a regime committed.
Hold on. When the fuck did Iran try to assassinate Trump? I'm just gonna ask chat, do y'all remember that going on, chat? Where the fuck was I at? Where the fuck was I when Iran tried to assassinate Trump?
to destroying the United States of America. It's the only country on the planet that says so openly and works tirelessly to achieve that goal. The reason that we had to act now is because they were, after we hit their nuclear sites and their ballistic missiles program, you'd think they learned a lesson, but they didn't, because they're unreformable. They're totally fanatic about this, about the goal of destroying America. So they started building new sites, new places, underground bunkers that would make their...
You said Mar-a-Lago golf. Man, everybody I seen try to get Trump up out of here look like a white man, man. I'm just going to be all the way honest with you. It didn't look like they had a Middle Eastern or, man, everybody that's trying to get Trump up out of here, let's be honest, man, they've been white men. Where the fuck does Iran come in here?
Ballistic missile program and their atomic bomb programs immune within months. If no action was taken now, no action could be taken in the future. And then they could target America, they could blackmail America, they could threaten us and threaten everyone in between. So action had to be taken, and you needed a resolute president like Donald J. Trump to take that action. And we are his very strong and able partners, and our alliance today is so strong. We had to take the action now, and we did. Otherwise, the Iranian mass murder regime would have immunity from future action.
Steve Witkoff made this statement, the Middle Eastern envoy, and he made it last week, that they absolutely are clinging to their ability to build out a nuclear weapons program. And the president, as he said, he wanted a peace deal, gave them every opportunity for peace, like they did before Operation Midnight Hammer. And they steadfastly refused. In the first 30 seconds, I've never seen anything like this in my life. The supreme leader, the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and his top 40 leaders were wiped out, Ahmadinejad among them. That is incredible intelligence, and wow, I'm sure this will be studied for centuries to come, not decades.
Well, you know, when America, the indispensable ally for Israel and the greatest power in the world, and Israel, America's model ally, as the National Security Council just called it, when we work together, amazing things happen. We work together and amazing things happen. But I have to tell you that it wouldn't happen without the leadership of President Trump, because he just, you know, I met him in Mar-a-Lago. You may remember this because I think you live close by, and I saw you at that time, right before his re-election, okay? Or before he was inaugurated the second time. And we met in Mar-a-Lago. And the first thing that Donald Trump said to me, he said, you know, we have to prevent Iran from getting nukes. As simple as that. He said that because he saw that as a clear...
Man, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, Jason. You said there's a lot of playing going on, sad but true. I'm just glad the Iranian people will be free from the chains. Now we're in for a hell of a fight. Now, free from what? Free from what? I mean, the whole country is still Shia Muslims. Free from what? The same shit finna be going on. For the foreseeable future. Free from what?
Clear and present danger to the security and well-being of the United States. To have a regime like that, so fanatic, that it just defines itself by destroying America, exporting revolution, exporting terrorism, exporting the worst Islamist fanaticism that attacks Arabs, attacks Israelis, attacks Americans, attacks everyone in sight. They just fired now their ballistic sight around in the Middle East, including Cyprus and Europe. To have a regime like that, that plans to eradicate the United States, have the weapons of mass death, would have been the greatest threat that America would face in the coming decades. And so he said to me right off the bat, I didn't say to him, he said to me, we have to make sure they never get the nukes. And that's what he did. We tried first to take them out in Midnight Hammer and Rising Lion operation, and we took out their missile sites, but then they started again. Their missile and nuclear sites. They didn't learn the lesson. He tried to get negotiations. He negotiated with them. They didn't get it. They tried to string him along. So action had to be taken.
Chad, hit the like button.
President Trump repeated over and over and over again, and I would argue that the leadership that is now dead was a death cult. And
Chad, I need everybody to hit the like button. We got to get the likes up here and get some people in here, man. What are we doing, man? Double tap the screen or go to the top, man. If it might be a little thumbs up at the top of y'all shit up there, man. Double tap the screen, shut a live out. We 25 subscribers away from the next sub goal, man.
Not just to the region, not just to Israel, death to America, but I am very convinced and have been convinced, as you have been for decades, that if they ever got nuclear weapons, that they would, you know, along with their fanaticism, it would cause them to use it. That is what that death cult would cause them to do. Is this now the culmination of decades of your work and your belief and your passion that these radicals needed to be defeated? And what is next for Iran? You know, we talk, well, the regime's changed, but we don't know into what yet. What are your thoughts?
Well, you're right. I did have spoken about it for decades, and I try to persuade successive American administrations to take firm action. And President Trump, in his first term, did. He got out of the disastrous Iran deal right off the bat, and he did everything he could to prevent them from going into the nuclear program that they seek to build atomic bombs to threaten us and you, and ultimately to attack both of us and to destroy as much as they can, because this is what these people do. They basically are in the business of mass death, and you're right to call them a death cult.
Trump removes the deal, says give up everything. They say no. Now we have the whole global landscape change. Same way Trump let the deal with what was it, Russia? He let the deal with Russia fall through, man. It just kind of is what it is. Putin wanted to extend it. Trump, fuck it, let it fall through. We'll get a different one. Don't think we have one as of now.
I worked with several presidents. I always appreciated the fact that we had, well, forthright discussions. Often we agreed.
Man, I can't really listen to Tucker, man. I ain't gonna lie. Tucker, they be trying to get me up out of here. When I watch Tucker, they'll block the damn live, cut us off.
But often we disagreed. And I appreciated that we kept the alliance going. But I want to tell you something. I'm not a youngster, so I've been around. There's never been a president like Donald J. Trump. His resoluteness, his decisiveness, his clarity of thinking, the way he gets right to the crux of things. It cuts through all the fluff, cuts through the chase.
Yeah, Trump probably don't like how he had to go home. You know, Netanyahu been over there doing his thing for a while. Kim Jong-un doing his thing for a while. You got Putin doing his thing for a while. And Trump's like, well, shit, fuck, I got to go home in a couple years, man.
Gets down to the main point, and it gets down to the main action that needs to be taken. And I think for Israel, and I think for the countries of the free world, let me tell you, I think for the world, we're very lucky to have.
Tissues, I might open up the phone lines here in a little bit. Oh, the phone lines don't work. We'll get in the Discord and do a debate. We'll do a Discord wars tonight because the phone lines don't work. But nobody's really gonna go against you, Tissues. Like everybody that's in the chat right now that's talking like that, man, they don't join the Discord. They don't call in. They don't join the StreamYard link, man. They hang out in the chat. It just is what it is.
Him as the leader of the free world, and in fact, the leader of the world. He's brought America back to being the leader of the world, and it makes a huge difference. And I can tell, I'm talking to America's allies in the region, just one by one by one. And I can't quote from these conversations, but I can tell you they all share this, and they all say, thank God that Donald Trump is here. Thank God that the two of you are acting together to remove this threat, not only to you, but to us. And Iran today just bombed with these ballistic missiles, these weapons of mass death, these weapons of terror. They're terror weapons. They bombed all these countries. They bombed Cyprus, which is Europe. I've said it won't take very long. They're bombing us, then they'll bomb Europe. And when they develop the intercontinental ballistic missiles and the nuclear wars to fit on these ballistic missiles, they'll threaten you and eventually they'll bomb you. This is what President Trump understood. And alone among US presidents that I've worked with, he took action. And we're all very, very lucky that he did.
I think that history will, through the prism of history, he will be viewed very favorably by recognizing a threat. In the last century, you're a historian, Mr. Prime Minister, you know, between Mao, China, Stalin, Russia, Hitler, Germany.
Man, depending on how this shit go, they fuck around, look at Trump like Bush, man. I ain't gonna lie, they gonna look at him like Bush Jr., man. Yeah, man. They fuck around, look at Trump like Bush.
Mussolini, fascism, Tojo, Japan, Pol Pot, the killing fields, estimated over 100 million human souls slaughtered in the name of some ism. Now we see a president and a prime minister partnering together to stop a threat before it emerges and becomes unstoppable, which I got to give you both so much credit for. It is transformational. It is consequential. I guess I want to look forward a little bit. We had in his first term the Abraham Accords. I know that there are countries in your region of the world that have been looking for a window of opportunity. I'm talking about the likes of Saudi Arabia and the UAE and Dubai and Egypt and Jordan, et cetera. Do you see a path to a long-lasting peace in the region, which we've not seen in forever?
Yes, I do. In fact, I hear the people are saying we're going to have an endless war here. You're not going to have an endless war because we are at this point that we've been, and Iran, this terror regime in Iran is the weakest point that it's been here since it hijacked Iran from the brave Iranian people 47 years ago. So this is going to be a quick and decisive action, and we're going to create the conditions first for the Iranian people to get control of their destiny, to form their own democratic
hit the like button,
government, which will make Iran a different Iran altogether, because Iran has been the main engine of war over these years. It's just 95% of all the problems you see.
Chad, how do y'all view Netanyahu as a leader? Like, take out, biases or anything. Just look at Netanyahu and what the fuck he's doing for his country. Press 1 if you think Netanyahu's doing what the hell he needs to do for his country. Press 2 if you don't think Netanyahu is doing what the hell he needs to do for his country. How do y'all view Netanyahu as a leader of his country?
In the Middle East are generated by Iran. And the worldwide terror network that they built is generated and orchestrated from Iran. So when you take away Iran, when you let the people of Iran have the opportunity to act, to liberate themselves, free themselves from the yoke of this terror machine, you get a different future. I think that will open up the way for many peace treaties with other Arab countries, with Muslim countries. I think it changes the world. Now, of course, it's up to the people of Iran in the final count to change the government. But we are creating, America and Israel together are creating the conditions for them to do so. I think that if we...
All right, Chad, we're going to do it like this. If you had to pick a leader other than Trump, Trump, you had to pick between Netanyahu, Zelensky, or Kim Jong-un, man, who the fuck is y'all picking, man? Who's the best leader out of those three, man? Kim Jong-un, Netanyahu, or Zelensky, man? Who's gonna do the best for their country in y'all's opinion?
If we go through what we plan to do, I think it will create conditions for peace. This is not an endless war. This is, in fact, something that will usher in an era of peace that we haven't even dreamed of.
You know, the president said to the people...
That's what I'm saying. Even the language that he's using, it will usher in a period of peace that we have never seen before, man. These folks are trying to fulfill prophecy in our fucking face, man, and they're not hiding. Excuse my language, man. They're trying to fulfill prophecy in our face, and they're not even hiding it, man. How many years of peace, chat? How many? Y'all know. Go get your book, man. Y'all know how many years of peace is supposed to be.
The world. Now, of course, it's up to the people of Iran in the final count to change the government. But we are creating, America and Israel together are creating the conditions for them to do so. I think that.
See, how the hell is y'all answering Putin when nobody even said Putin? See, that's how I know y'all don't listen. I said Zelensky, Netanyahu, and Kim Jong-un. See, now y'all want to say Putin is Putin. That wasn't an option. Where's the reading comprehension skills, man?
If we go through what we plan to do, I think it will create conditions for peace. This is not an endless war. This is, in fact, something that will usher in an era of peace that we haven't even dreamed of.
You know,
and it will
said to the people of Iran,
now
the
they
hour
wanna,
of
now I'm lagging and shit. When I get the cooking, see,
is
chat.
at hand, and you know, you've been asking America for years to do this, and now you're winning.
See, Chad, when I get the cooking and shit, they want to mess up the live and shit like that, man. They don't even want me to go back to it. He said it will usher in an era of peace that we couldn't have dreamed of. Bro, these folks, man, listen, Chad, we just seen dude talk about sacrificing that red heifer last year, man. Some shit going on, Chad. I ain't gonna lie, some shit going on. Look, they don't even want me to watch the damn video, no.
The world. Now, of course, it's up to the people of Iran in the final count to change the government. But we are creating, America and Israel together are creating the conditions for them to do so. I think that if we go through what we plan to do, I think it will create conditions for peace. This is not an endless war. This is, in fact, something that will usher in an era of peace that we haven't even dreamed of.
You know, the president said to the people of Iran, the hour of freedom is at hand. And, you know, you've been asking America for years to do this, and now your window is here. You know, seize this moment. Don't let it pass. It might be the only opportunity you have in a generation, and I'm hopeful that that's true. In a conversation with Senator Lindsey Graham, he said to me that he believes that
yes, I'm American.
Probably one of the key countries in all of this would be Saudi Arabia and NBA.
You said, wait, am I Democrat or Republican? I'm neither. Why do you try to label me, man? My name is Plug. I don't care if you far left, far right, liberal, conservative, Marxist, fascist, alien, PC. When I open up that Discord, you can join the Discord wars and have a conversation with us, man. I am the voice of the politically homeless. They would label me a centrist.
Yes. Do you specifically see path there? A path for peace?
Yeah, well, I think Saudi Arabia will have a lot to gain. I think all these countries around Iran are threatened by Iran. I think they want to see this regime go down, even if they don't publicly say that. They've just been targeted by Iran. So obviously, if Iran is removed, that's a great boon to Saudi Arabia, a great boon to these other countries. And I think peace between Israel and Saudi Arabia would be really possible and probably very close once this thing happens. So this is a gateway for peace, for a broader peace, and I believe that we can achieve it. The most important thing to understand is that when we work together, President Trump and I, we achieved, in fact, 4 breakthroughs for peace, brokered by President Trump, working together with me. We brought forward the Abraham Accords, which was 4 peace treaties with 4 Arab countries. And now, working together against Iran, we'll be able to bring many, many more peace treaties. So this is not an endless war. This is a gateway to peace. It's the exact opposite of what people are saying.
Mr. Prime Minister, I think history will study this military effort, and it'll be, as I said, be studied for centuries. But, you know, also you took out their air defense systems, their missile defense system, ballistic missile systems. You know, you got the 10 top guys in Hamas.
Pryor said, and you're conservative, not as centrist as you think. Pryor, you're a commie, man. It is what it is. You're full-blown commie, man. It is what it is.
You got Nasrallah, who'd been in power for 30 some odd years. You had the pager incident. Donald Trump dropped 14 bunker buster bombs and took out and obliterated
Fry's probably a
their
Marxist.
nuclear
That's what I think.
facilities.
Fry's is a
I mean,
Marxist, actually.
I know there's war
Listening to Fry's sitting around Fry's kind of sounds like
colleges,
a Marxist.
just
I'm not gonna lie, like no shade, like just honestly. You think I'm a conservative? I do have conservative. I grew up in the South. Our perception, our perspective. You grew up in California, so I understand it. You know what I'm saying? But just sitting around listening to you, I think Fry's might be a Marxist.
all of these incidents combined will be a lifetime worth of study, in my view. And I want to ask you this, you know, there are people that say, well, the prime minister of Israel dragged Donald Trump into it. And as somebody that's been friends with him over 30 years, nobody drags Donald Trump into anything, number one, but I want to get your reaction to that.
Well, you're right. I mean, that's ridiculous. Donald Trump is the strongest leader in the world. He does what he thinks is right for America. He does also what he thinks is right for future generations. And frankly, we're partners in that effort because I've devoted my life to...
I don't think you're as democratic socialist as you think, Fry's.
...securing the life of the one and only Jewish state. And believe me, it's been a struggle. I've known the pangs of war. I lost a brother in war.
Democratic socialists, well, what was that? Isn't that supposed to be like power to the workers and shit? I don't hear you championing no fucking workers, Fry.
And in battle, I myself fought terrorists and was wounded in liberating hostages from a hijacked plane. I held a fellow soldier in my arms when I was 18, and he died in my arms. I know the cost of war, but I know sometimes that...
Top Cat, no, don't come in here trying to stick up for Cali, man. Don't come here trying to stick up for Cali, man. You know what be going on out there. It be, you know, they be pushing the line out there in Cali with everything, as y'all like to say. Everything's in Cali. They be pushing every line out there in Cali too, man. Right? Then we had capitalism. Isn't that what Marx talked about? We had capitalism. Then didn't he predict that America was going to be the first capitalist country? I mean, communist country. It ended up being those other countries. That's where democratic socialism was born. Power to the worker. Then we got consumerism from that, right? Now we're living in consumerism, man. Maybe I'm wrong. You know, maybe my studies are off. You know, I'm just saying, Chad.
The war is necessary to protect us from the people who would destroy us. And that's what free societies have to understand. Freedom is...
Now you say Mom Donnie's a fucking commie, man. Let's be all the way real, man. We could call it democratic socialism or whatever, man. Put any label you want on it, man. You know what, Chad? If you go to a lot of these restaurants, they're using that fucking Sam's Club Cool Whip. They're just putting a private label on it, and you think it's their shit, man. I believe that's what people are doing with political parties. You think I'm conservative, but I'm independent. People label me a centrist. It is what it is. To me, I don't give a fuck. I'm the voice of the politically homeless. This what it is. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, a lot of people want to slap labels on shit. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people want to slap labels on shit, you know.
Precious, but it has to be protected. And we have to understand that we're fighting here. We're fighting here the bad guys. We're the good guys. These people massacred their own people. Imagine.
Hey, Mama Money.
These people who chant death to them, if they had the ballistic missiles and the nuclear warheads to deliver to every American city. Do you want to wait? Do you want to bet your future on whether they would do it or they would not do it? I mean, look, nobody stopped North Korea, so they now have ballistic missiles and nuclear warheads. But they don't say death to America. Iran is 50 North Koreas. Iran is committed to your destruction. And whether people understand it or not, the leader has to understand it. Donald Trump understands it. You don't have to drag him into anything. And nobody would do it anyway. He does what he thinks is right. And this is right. And let me tell you, I visited today a town in Israel, okay? this town yesterday, a ballistic missile, it's like a truck, it's like a bus full of TNT, comes in at Mach 8 and slams right into a synagogue. Okay? And right around there, 9 people murdered. So here's the difference.
Now, I don't know, man. You said look up what a democratic socialist. Listen, man. Far as I ain't finna go, we'll get into Discord later. We had this convo because I keep pausing this shit, man. I keep pausing this shit. All I'm saying is, if you're a democratic socialist, man, why the fuck are you never championing workers, man? You go against the oligarch, but that's as far as you go. You go to the very tip top. It's like, where's the championing for the workers, man? Where's the end to consumerism, man? Well, where's the fight against AI taking jobs, man? Isn't that what the fuck, just saying. Well, where is that at?
Between us. These mass murderers in Tehran, they target civilians. We in Israel and America target the mass terrorists. That's the
You're a big supporter of unions. I'm just saying, for us, we can't tell. That's what I'm saying. So you might know that you're a big supporter of unions, but I've been talking to you for like 2 or 3 months now, and I've never heard it. I've never heard it, man.
a nutshell of the difference. And we have to protect our world against these people. And if these people have the weapons of mass death, these mass murderers, then you'll have mass death. And then people will ask, well, why didn't you act in time? Why didn't you do something about it? Winston Churchill called this the slumber of democracies. They said they slumber, they go to sleep, and they wake up only when the jarring gong of danger wakes them up. Well, I think in this case, President Trump and I think differently. We don't have to sleep. We don't have to slumber.
You said, Plug, you're the one supporting AI. Friars, it's recorded. Chat. Where my OGs at in here, chat? Where my OGs at, man? Somebody please correct Friars. Saying I'm the one supporting AI. I said that we shouldn't vote for anybody that can't promise a solidified percentage of actual human workers. If you're not going to regulate that, I'm on record saying it multiple times. We need to, that's where we draw the fucking line, is AI replacing jobs, man. If they can't promise us that majority of the workforce, 51%, we can go up to 60%, will remain human workers, we don't vote for them, man. We don't put that shit in, man. Fuck that. And what happened? Trump came in and said what? He's banning all AI regulations, executive order, man. Straight out.
We don't have to look askance, look aside and say there is no danger. There is great danger, and it's time to act. The good guys need to act early enough. And there are those leaders, so-called leaders, who don't see it. And they just sit back and they say, oh, well, it's a terrible thing. No, it's not a terrible thing. To protect humanity, to protect America, to protect Israel, to protect the free world from this theological thuggery, these fanatics who don't care. We just export death, mass death everywhere, build terror armies to strangle the people of Lebanon and the people of Gaza and the people of other people. That's what they do. So to act against them is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. And it's high time that the people of the free societies understood that they have to act to protect their freedom and our way of life. We're fighting barbarians. Israel is at the front line of this battle against barbarism. And America under President Trump has entered this fight to protect our civilization and to protect our common future.
Well, I hope the people in Europe are listening, and very specifically Macron in France and the leader in Spain. And I can tell you this, as Starmer is no Winston Churchill. I hope they hear they have let their guard down when it comes to national security and national defense. They have allowed unfettered illegal immigration without assimilation, resulting in, 80 some odd Sharia courts in Great Britain and no-go zones in other parts of Europe. I hope they watch and witness and learn from President Trump and from you, Mr. Prime Minister. I pray for all the people in the region, and I pray for a lasting peace, That would be my dream, my prayer for everybody in the.
Yeah, Gito. In the morning we go over to. I guess we'll sit down. I don't know. I want to watch Hillary Clinton's testify, man. But that shit might be long and a little boring, Chad. I ain't gonna lie. That's what I ain't night. But we'll probably do that tomorrow on a not the vertical live, but the regular live. Just sit down, just hang out, and watch this shit.
The region, and we do appreciate your time tonight, sir.
Well, thank you. And it's called peace through strength. It's not a slogan.
What's up, Top Cat?
It's the most basic reality, the basic rule in a very unkind world. You have to be strong to protect freedom. You have to be strong to protect your values. And you have to be resolved to take action. I said it could be quick and decisive. It may take some time, but it's not going to take years. It's not an endless war. In fact, it's an effort right now to achieve the peace that we all yearn and pray for. And I think together we'll achieve it.
I mean, I pray you're right. Mr. Prime Minister, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here.
All right, Sean, man. All right, Sean. Let's get into it. Oh, Destiny debated somebody today earlier, too. I was watching a little bit of that. Let's get into it, though, chat. I'm really ready to get in the fucking Discord. I'm really ready to get in these Discord wars, man. But it is what it is. We're going to watch on this clip right here. I think they got Anna over here on Pierce today. I'm ready there.
We didn't start this war, but under President Trump, we are finishing it.
Trump has unleashed the armed forces of the United
Chad,
States.
hit the like button.
Unleashed its armed forces to take the fight really to the heart of terrorism, the mullahs in Tehran.
It is astounding to me that somebody like Mike Pence or so many other people who...
Oh, yeah, they got Mike Pence on this bad boy, too. What you mean Hillary was on them tapes? I thought Hillary said she didn't ever go to the island, man.
led our country into disastrous wars, one after the next.
I seen a video of Bill Clinton looking through them pictures, smiling and shit, though, like reminiscing. I ain't gonna lie, it was kind of crazy. Like, ain't no way, Bill, you sitting here looking at these fucking photos of what y'all had going on, smiling and like, let me see that shit again, man. Ain't no way you did that shit, Bill.
Are now just speaking as though none of it ever happened.
How is it a trope? How is it a trope to see American soldiers die on behalf of Israel's wars?
I'm not going to dignify that with a response.
How many times have you gone to Arlington and paid your respects
I'm
to
not
American
talking to you,
heroes?
Rodriguez, you terrorist piece of crap.
Whatever your view of the US-Israeli attack on Iran, it's a moment of history.
So, Chad, how do y'all feel about that, Chad? He's asked her how many times have she been to Arlington to visit the soldiers. Do y'all feel like that's a valid question? Maybe I should go to Arlington and visit the soldiers, Chad. Maybe I should do that, man.
Which will forever reshape the Middle East. Whether the new world is a better, safer place, we don't know. That's the reality of war. There's a lot we don't know, and it sets off deadly chain reactions which cannot be controlled. The Ayatollah is dead, and nobody should mourn a murderous dictator who presided for decades over state-sponsored terrorism across the world. But we don't know if his replacement will be as bad or perhaps even worse. President Trump says Iranian dissidents should take this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to sweep into power, but we don't know how they're supposed to do that. The civilian protesters don't have the guns. President Trump says the war should last up to 4 weeks. There's Iranian bombs rained down on Gulf states who did not want a war. We don't know if it can be contained. US allies in the UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia and elsewhere may well tell the US that it just can't wash its hands of a regional war it started. And above all, we don't know what...
You said HC was filmed doing some unspeakable things on that laptop. Man, I seen what Young Pharaoh put, man. Young Pharaoh put that shit out on Patreon and got to going crazy, man. After Young Pharaoh put that video out about Hillary Clinton, you know what I mean, man? His ass started going crazy, dude.
What the US justification for the war really is. Donald Trump's conversations with individual journalists over the weekend.
What I want to know is how he got the video. I think he got it off the dark web.
Again,
the CIA came and visited him and everything after he posted that shit or around the time he posted it.
Echoed his shifting position in the weeks leading up to the attack. On the one hand, it's about Iran's nuclear capabilities, which Trump had said were obliterated and set back decades only last year. On the other, it's about freedom for Iranians and protection for protesters, which many in his base feel is simply not America's business. It's precisely because we don't know so much. This is an enormous gamble by the American.
I feel like, Chad, I just think after he posted a video like that, do y'all remember which Men in Black was it? Was it the first one or the second one? I think it was the first one where they had that, they put the shades on. They be like, they put the shades on, then they pull out that little black stick, man. No Diddy, they pull out that little black stick and look like a little flashlight, and you just forget everything, man. I think that might be what they did to Pharaoh, man, because his ass started tripping, man.
President, by far the biggest across either of his presidencies. Trump's legacy will surely now be defined by what happens next, just as Tony Blair and George W. Bush are defined by the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. A free and democratic Iran, allied with the West, would be an outcome that eclipses any of Trump's domestic failures or successes. But the same thing applies with equal menace to a regime change that goes the way of US regime changes in Afghanistan, Libya, Iraq, and elsewhere. We don't yet know which it will be, and it may not be in America's control. Well, before we debate with my panel, I'm pleased to say I'm joined for the first time on Uncensored by Mike Pence, the 48th Vice President of the United States, who of course served in the first Trump administration. Vice President Pence, welcome to Uncensored.
Thank you, Pierce. Thanks for having me on.
Very good to have you, particularly at such a obviously historic moment for the world. First of all,
man, Mike Pence looked like he just keep a 1911 on him. I'm talking about a big sturdy 1911, don't it, Chad? It looked like Mike Pence might come off the hip with that bad boy.
Let's cut to the quick here about this attack on Iran. What do you think is the justification, the legal justification in particular, but also the moral justification for Operation Epic Fury?
Well, first, Pierce, if I may, let me just say how proud and impressed I am with the armed forces of the United States, with our Joint Chiefs, with masterful planning that our armed forces have executed flawlessly in the first several days of Operation Epic Fury. It's truly been inspiring. And I also want to give all the credit in the world to President Donald Trump for his bold and decisive action in moving against the Iranian regime, unleashing our forces in partnership with our cherished ally Israel and their courageous IDF forces. I think it has been a promising and encouraging first few days, but the real work lies ahead, as you suggest. And I believe, in answer to your question,
man, Pierce says he's a liberal. I don't know what you mean, Fries. Pierce says he's damn liberal. He's a Democrat, man. I don't know what the fuck you talking about, Fries. Sometimes I think Fries just be talking.
And the real objective here is to confront a war that started 47 years ago. I mean, the truth is that from the time American hostages were taken in 1979 to the time that 220 Marines fell, 20 more American service members were cut down in a terrorist attack in Beirut sponsored by Iran. Iran has been...
Nah, man. How can you say that he's a right-wing nut when he's cool with the fucking immigration? And the whole right wing is talking about how right where he's at is being overran by damn Africans and people from everywhere else, damn Islam. And Piers Morgan's the only one to stand up for it. He's saying it doesn't bother him. It's not none of that. They should have the immigration and all of that shit, man. I don't know where the fuck you be at, Fries. Okay, because Pierce has never, you said name anytime. See, that's where you get into TDS, man. See, I don't even like using Trump derangement syndrome, but just because, so you're saying, fuck everything that else he believes, because this man who's from across the pond, not even a fucking American, hasn't said enough bad shit about Donald Trump, that means that he's a right-wing nut. When he's sitting here talking about he don't give a fuck about how many Islams migrate over there. He doesn't care. He thinks the shit Nick Shirley was doing was, out of whack. It's just kind of crazy to me.
Waging war on the United States, on Israel, on the West for 47 years.
I'm talking about in his country. Now he's talking about in Iran and shit. We're talking about in Pierce's country where he's at. When they questioned him and said it was overrun by radical Islams and shit, Pierce said, no, it's not. I don't have a problem with that, man. These people come over here, man.
Our response has been all along the way, it seems to me, to slice away at the tentacles, so whether they be Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis.
Well, I don't know. This is the last time I'm addressing. We just got to wait to Discord Wars because you're saying Pierce is anti-immigration, anti-Islam, anti-trans. Pierce calls himself a liberal. So I guess you're just saying that Pierce is not a liberal, man. He's just not, you know, whatever the fuck he calls himself. He's lying, I guess. I don't know.
These
same way you feel like I'm lying and I feel like you lying. Everybody's just lying about their fucking political affiliation over here, man. Everybody's just lying. What's up, Kate?
Insurgents in Iraq, but now by authorizing this action, President Trump has unleashed the armed forces of the United States. Israel's unleashed its armed forces to take the fight really to the heart of terrorism, which is the mullahs in Tehran, many of whom have been eliminated. But now comes a time where I think we have to see this through and create the conditions where the people of Iran who have longed for freedom and democracy and human rights can reclaim their country.
Now, when you go look it up, Friars, don't type it in 6 different times to try to get the answer you want. Just type in, is Pierce Morgan a liberal? You know what I'm saying? Fry's the kind of guy that'll go type in reasons why Pierce Morgan isn't liberal and come back and copy and paste it into the chat. Like, see, you know what I'm saying? That's shit Fry's be over.
In terms of the legal justification, I mean, that's the kind of moral argument that you've laid out. And there'll be many people that agree with it. But there are many people that agree perhaps that there was a moral argument for taking out the Ayatollah, for example, and for trying to dismantle this regime, but who remain very concerned about the legality of this. We saw that with my country, the UK, who refused to sanction any involvement in this first wave of the attack and have only belatedly, a day later, sanctioned use of bases because they want to protect British citizens in the Middle East. And many people think that's a pretty weak and pathetic sort of no position, if you like. But in terms of the legality, how would you justify this legally to people that are concerned about that aspect of this?
Well, yeah, I never thought I'd miss Tony Blair. Going back to your first point, I mean, look, we've had a special relationship between the United Kingdom and the United States since the end of World War II. I always said it could be defined during my years in Congress and through the White House by a simple truth that when...
Oh, chat, I want y'all to know that tonight, I'm sorry, we will not be streaming the Discord Wars. So if y'all want to hear the Discord Wars, you need to join the Discord. Mods, be dropping the Discord. After this video's over, we're going to get in the Discord and have these combos and debates. And if you want to be a part of that shit or listen in, you don't have to talk. You can just listen in, join the Discord. Otherwise, you're going to have to catch that shit whenever I decide to upload it on Discord Wars.
We go, the UK goes. And to see Keir Starmer and to see the hemming and hawing and the hesitation, which I'm glad to see now giving way to a recognition with the attack on your base in Akrotiri in Cyprus. It seems that now the Starmer government is waking up to the real widening threat that Iran presents in this moment. But it's been disappointing to see that, but better late than never, right? But in terms of the legal justification, I must tell you, when it comes to international law, it seems like international law for literally generations has been that terrorist organizations and the leading state sponsor of terrorism in the world can strike without being hit back directly, but that nations of the West, notably the United States of America, is constrained from striking back directly at them. And I think this is a moment where President Trump, learning that Iran was reconstituting its nuclear program when it's long advocated for not only death to America, but for wiping Israel off the map, when Iran is developing and maintaining an arsenal of ballistic missiles that threaten Israel and our other allies across the Arab world, including Americans, tens of thousands of Americans stationed at U.S. Bases there. It seems to me more than justified, the action in this instance. But again, there's a lot of talk. I saw in one major newspaper over here today that that President Trump had pledged not to start a war. Well, I hold the view that Iran started this war 47 years ago, and President Trump, with the greatest military force on earth, allied with Israel and now a growing number of our allies across the Arab world and in the West, is purposing to finish it. And I believe that he'll do a great service to history if we see it all the way through and eliminate the ability of this regime to continue to tyrannize the people of Iran.
Damn, Chad.
You referenced Tony Blair there, and it's interesting because I think Tony Blair has been the kind of elephant in the room in the thinking of the current UK government about how to respond to it, because, as I'm sure you're aware, in the start of this century, in the build-up to the war in Iraq, Tony Blair went against public opinion in the UK, went without a second UN resolution, believed he had the legal authority, used the argument that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction in Iraq and therefore had to be stopped. And then, of course, we know what happened is we went in collectively, US, UK, other allies. There was a ferocious war, there was a ground war, and these weapons simply didn't turn up. So the pretext for the war turned out to not exist. And as a result, people have condemned Tony Blair and George Bush since then, but also the fallout from that, because there was no prior planning that people could really perceive.
Thank you, Big Nish.
Was that you saw the rise of ISIS, you saw huge unrest in the region, and so on. And what I think people are concerned about here is that we could be, if we're not careful, stumbling into a similar situation.
I really didn't see Mike Pence's eyebrows. I didn't see them hoes at all. You said Mike Pence has Hitler mustache for eyebrows. I didn't see them hoes at all. I didn't think he had none, Chet, till I had to squint a little bit.
Where now the tinderbox has been well and truly let off. No one's quite sure what happens. And that if you don't have any boots on the ground, can you actually affect regime change in the way that Donald Trump would like to? And if you can't affect regime change, what are you left with?
Well, I think you raise a very good point, and it's a cautionary tale. But, where my mind goes, the comparison to the overwhelming force that the United States is bringing to bear against Iran now, in concert with our allies in Israel, and as I said, a growing number of Arab countries and Western allies, is more analogous to the Persian Gulf War than to the Iraq War. I mean, President George Herbert Walker Bush marshaled an enormous amount of military resources, including allies across the region and across the West. He drove Saddam Hussein's military out, and I think in a very real sense restored deterrence for the better part of a decade to that region of the world, until, of course, our nation was struck on 9/11, and with UK
Mike?
at our side, we took.
By who? Who were we struck by on 9/11, Mike? Who?
We took the fight to our terrorist enemies in Afghanistan. But I think the objective here, in addition to confronting the bases for this invasion, the administration has described also, we have an opportunity here to restore the deterrence that was squandered during the Biden administration, during that disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. I mean, I must tell you, Pierce, that I think it's no coincidence that we have this reckless withdrawal from Afghanistan. The Taliban overruns the country, reversing all the gains that we'd made for the people in that nation. And then within a year, Russia invades Ukraine. Within a year after that, with Iran supporting them, Hamas launches the worst attack on the Jewish people since the Holocaust on October the 7th. Add to that the 12-day war, the use of ballistic missiles by Iran for the first time against Israel. I mean, the region has, since that disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan under President Joe Biden, the evil has been emboldened across the world. And today, thanks to the courage of our armed forces, the decision of our Commander-in-Chief, President Donald Trump, the strength and efforts of Israel and our other allies in the region, I think we have an opportunity, if we see it through, to really restore deterrence to the region and set the table, not just for a free and
to my question.
Well, she responded by claiming I'm sharing jihadi propaganda. I'm talking about dead American soldiers. So do you apologize or not?
Okay.
May I respond
Goldie,
without
quick
interruption?
response.
Thank you. So we were laughing at Chank's bizarre anti-Semitic tropes about how Israel is responsible for every single incident that happens in the war. We were not laughing at
That's not what he said.
American soldiers. And you actually edited the video. You edited the video. So there.
Man, I'm at this point, man. Pierce, you put every motherfucker on your show, man. Just gonna have me up there one time, Pierce. It is what it is, man. I ain't went viral or nothing lately, man. But Pierce, you be having some of every fucking body on the show, bro. You might well extend the invite to me, man. I'll show up on time and everything. Fuck.
There you go. Everyone knows that you're lying. You're a laughing stock. You're a joke.
Everyone can go back and watch the full episode for
say.
Pierce's show. Right.
Okay.
The only ones who were respecting
Goldie?
General
Anyway,
Wesley Clark were myself and.
Okay, you know what? Look, Anna, you said your piece about Goldie. She's responded. Let's get back to the bigger picture, which I'm sure the other panelists would prefer us to do. Your response to Mike Pence, but both on the moral argument, because I do think that there are lots of people I know, including many on the left, who can understand a moral argument for getting rid of what has been a ruthless, bloodthirsty, vile regime that has caused terror not just to its own people but to the wider world, but hesitate about whether this is the legal thing to do. So I don't think it's just people on the right saying go, go, go. People on the left saying, well, I'm glad he's gone, and I'm glad the Ayatollah's gone. I'm glad a lot of the top leadership have gone, but I'm not sure that this is legal, and the precedent being set is very dangerous.
My view of this current war against Iran is that Iran did not pose a threat to the United States. Their ballistic missiles did not have the capability to reach the United States. And the notion that this was...
Let's just be real, man. Can we all just say it, man? Pierce don't be having no real FBAs on the show, man. Pierce don't be having no real. Y'all know what I want to say. Pierce don't never have no real on the show. I mean, he had Kanye on there, you know what I'm saying? He had Kanye on there twice. That might be the, you know what I mean? Don Lemon, you know, okay. What's the other guy that always walks off like he's really educated? Not Don Lemon, but I get him and Don Lemon mixed up. He's on there sometimes and shit. But it's like, man, Pierce, man, I don't know, bro.
All about Iran's weapons was a lie from the very beginning. This is about a regime change war on behalf of Israel. Israel would like to be the hegemon in the Middle East, and the United States...
Man, I'll take the do-rag off for Pierce, bro. I'll go get a retwist for Pierce, bro. Listen, Chad, we've been thugging it for the longest, man. I'm on my biblical journey right now, Chad, but Pierce to say that we gonna get on the damn show, I'll fuck around, go get a retwist, Chad. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Is spilling blood and basically using its treasure to help Israel build an empire that I guarantee you will turn around and, well, we'll suffer the consequences of that at some point. But we're suffering the consequences of it right now. I mean, the first thing Israel did is strike an Iranian girls' school, killing 175 people. That's according to the New York Times, which typically likes to bury the wrongdoings of the Israeli government and military. I don't see this as a just war. I don't think that President Donald Trump has a plan for what happens following the...
Yeah, that's his name. Mark Hill, the guy from Joe Budden podcast. You talking about Mark Lamont Hill? I think that might be him. You said Yeah, I would want to keep the do-rag on. I ain't gonna lie, man. I would want to keep the do-rag on. But listen, man, if I gotta get the retwist to make it a little, you know what I'm saying, make it a little easier on the eyes for some of these people that don't like the do-rag, you know, I'm not cutting my hair, chat. Not yet, man. I'm not cutting my hair yet, man. But I get a fucking retwist, man. You do that.
Slaughter of the Ayatollah or the destruction of the Iranian regime. In fact, he has said as much. He said it is not the U.S.'s job to figure out who leads Iran next, which means that there will be a power vacuum. And we know how that plays out in other countries where we've done similar things. And in regard to Syria, let's not mistake what actually happened in Syria. Okay, the Obama administration began arming al-Qaeda terrorists who actually fought our soldiers in Iraq.
I'm not gonna lie. Anna is fiery and shit, but after I seen that video of Anna tripping on that woman about the damn dog and shit, man, acting like everything was just the sky was falling about that damn dog. I was like, oh my God, Anna, come on, man, like really.
And now we have a supposedly former al-Qaeda terrorist as the leader of Syria. We didn't do good things in the Middle East, including in Syria. So Mike Pence is a complete and utter joke in what he said during that interview.
Okay, Jonathan Conricus, just first off, the attack on the school or the explosion at the school that caused so many deaths, particularly of young girl students, there does seem to be, at the moment, ongoing confusion about exactly what has happened there. The school was next to one of the Revolutionary Guard bases. It used to be part of the base until recently, apparently several years ago, it was sort of separated from the base. And, you know, depending on which report you see, but none of them appear to be definitive, this was either an Israeli/American missile that caused this to happen, or it could have been an interception by the Revolutionary Guard, or it could have been indeed a missile, as some have claimed, fired by the Revolutionary Guard that hit the school by mistake. We don't seem to know for sure yet. Do you have any intelligence that can 100% verify what's happened there?
No, I've been asked in various fringe networks, and I've done a lot of interviews over the last 2 days and 2.5 days. And, you know, that topic comes up when someone is grasping to try to undermine the American and Israeli operation against the regime, because it is a relatively convenient tool to use. Usually it's not by people who have compassion for civilians, for Iranian schoolgirls, or for Iranians in general, but it's usually for people who have something either against President Trump and his policies, or very often against the state of Israel. So I've looked into it, and so far, kind of a messy situation where I can't really make sense of what happened, whether it's Israel or the US who struck, or whether it's some type of a false flag operation by the IRGC. I wouldn't be surprised in any of the options. It could be an American or an Israeli strike at a proper military target that happened to be too close or co-located within or next to a school. And it could be something that was cooked up by the IRGC specifically for the purposes of having something to clutch at and having something to feed international media to show allegedly wrongdoing. I'd put that into stark contrast with, you know, very deliberate actions of the Iranian regime when they are firing at
All right, Chad, we got a couple people in the Discord. Tody, Jared, and Mama Money. Steve, if you and Top Cat want to join the Discord, anybody want to join the Discord to have this conversation or debate, go ahead and head to the Discord. Let me share the damn link. Let me invite y'all to the damn channel. Hold on. All right, chat. I'm finna post the Discord link on the community tab wall so y'all can join up to the Discord. Let me play this clip. Wow.
7 or 8 sovereign countries in the region, and they're firing at almost exclusively civilian targets. They're firing at cities in Israel. They're firing, of course, cities, and we already have 11 civilian casualties confirmed all of them civilian, none of them military, most of them women and children, one elderly man. They've been killed in various incidents where Iranian missiles have exploded in Israeli cities. We have confirmed deaths in the UAE, in Saudi Arabia, in Kuwait, and a lot of incoming missiles on Cyprus, Jordan, and other locations. And of course, we could speak about this incident, and I'm sure that many people who have issues with Israel would want this to be the story. They would want one errant attack or one unexplained situation to be the headline, because it is it supports the agenda. These are, by the way, the same people who, when Iranians were marching in the streets and being gunned down by the Iranian regime, we didn't hear a lot of them speak about what was going on, and we didn't hear a lot of those people who now allegedly care about Iranian schoolgirls speak about the atrocities of the regime. And it is the typical hypocritical position of so many people. It only depends on who has allegedly done the killing. Doesn't matter who was killed, and how this can be cynically and politically.
No, that's where you're wrong. It matters on both ends. It matters on both ends. It matters who was unalived, and it matters who unalived. What the hell are we talking about here? Like, is he listening to himself, or is he just fucking talking? Of course it matters who was unalived. The fuck? Civilian, soldier, child, old person. Like, yes, we want to know the story. And of course it matters who unalived them. Which side was it? Was it an accident? Was it targeted? Yes, all of this shit is working. What are we talking about? We're talking about 66 kids, bro.
Okay.
We all
General
know
Kim,
that there's
as we've
one
been
country that seems to have an affinity for slaughtering children, and that country is Israel. But anyway.
No, that's actually
Okay,
Iran, dear Anna. That's
okay,
actually
but we also
Islamic Republic of Iran.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
We also know, I think, from what's happened in Gaza, it is prudent to get to.
And if you want to be totally honest, it matters the absolute most if America did it. You know what I'm saying? This is my country. We want to know, like, now, if Iran blew up an Iran school, it's sad. Like, no, they shouldn't be fucking doing that. But it's a little, out of my hands. I'm not an Iranian. I'm not of Iranian descent. I've never been to Iran. Don't want to go to Iran. If it's Israel that did it, I mean, hell, I'm not going to Israel. I haven't been to Israel, If it's America that did it, I fucking live here, man. We paying taxes for this shit. What's going on?
Before we pass to censorious judgment, and I prefer to do that because I think if we don't, that way madness lies. As we're talking, General Kim, President Trump has told the New York Post that he's not ruling out sending US ground troops into Iran if they were necessary. He said Operation Epic Fury was way ahead of schedule by taking out dozens of Tehran's top officials. He said, quote, "I don't have the yips with respect to boots on the ground. There will, like every president says, there'll be no boots on the ground. I don't say that. I say probably don't need them, or if they were necessary." He also told CNN earlier today that the big wave in the conflict is yet to materialize, indicating the US has not yet begun to strike Iran forcefully and suggesting more significant action is imminent. So where do you feel we are with this, General Kim, and how precarious would it be for the US to commit boots on the ground? I talked earlier to Vice President Pence about the parallels here with Iraq back in 2002-03, where committing boots on the ground turned out really, historically, to be a disaster.
Yes, it's going to be a disaster. See, Iran I don't think they believe they can win this war. They want to deal some damage, some shit's going on. How can they get something to hold on to for the foreseeable future? Like, oh, this is what we did to America. Boots on the ground. This regime or whoever we're going against, quote unquote, trying to phase out, they want American boots on the ground. Now we hear Rubio saying, look, man, they're making 100 of these bad boys. We can only make 7. I'm sitting here like, what the fuck does that mean? What are the ramifications of that? How are we going to solve that problem? They making 100 and we can only make 7 counter. How do we solve that? Is this where we're getting that rhetoric on Trump saying he don't care about the polls? If we listen to what Rubio said when they asked Rubio, was Trump going to put boots on the ground? Everybody didn't see how he put the damn Philly shell on and let that question slide right off of him. I'm talking about it just slid right off of him, Chad. It just slid right off of him. He said that Trump can do what he wants to do as commander-in-chief, man. That was the answer that we got, man. It is what it is. It's going on.
Could we be sleepwalking our way into another disaster here?
You said, what is a win? A win is saying that they killed some Americans, a whole lot of them, man. If they're over there talking about death to America and America's going over there, how are they going, what else are they going to do? They're not going to win the complete war, but they can win a battle. If let's just say, like, what's the professor guy, the one Sneako's been talking to, he has a whole lecture on it. If America puts 100 to a couple 100,000 soldiers over there in the mountainous region of Iran, they're going to be encircled. It's going to be pretty hard to resupply them. They will rather quickly turn hostages in that situation. That's why we see our administration right now saying, y'all need to overthrow your country. Take control of your country. This might be the only time in generations, because they know if we put those boots on the ground over there, it might be a bad situation. So I'm saying for them, the only way that the Iranians can get a significant win in battle, I mean, like something that'll hurt America forever, ever. Like, don't get me wrong, we've lost 6 soldiers already. Prayers to those soldiers, prayers to those families, and we'll never forget them. But they want mass casualty as a country. The not just the country, but the people, this regime, the remnants of this regime want some mass casualties. They're not going to get mass casualties unless we put boots on the ground. They're just not mass casualties. Oh, you said, what is a win to us? So we have to have clear, when it comes to that, we have to have clear objectives. The clear objectives that we had going into this conflict was regime change and destroying the nuclear capabilities, specifically the centrifuges. We need this. They can't have the centrifuges. They can't be able to enrich this uranium. It's supposed to be over with. So those are our two clear objectives: regime change. But more importantly than regime change is those centrifuges to stop the nuclear program. So that's the win for us: stopping the nuclear program, getting a hold of those centrifuges, and possibly getting a whole nother deal struck with Iran, their new leadership, that they will give it all up. That's the win for America. They have to give up everything when it comes to the nuclear program. We've seen the foreign minister to Iran saying we need this capability because we have 2 million of our citizens that rely on this for medicinal purposes. They'll die if they don't have this. Trump doesn't give a fuck. He wants the centrifuges and he wants this shit shut down. So that would be considered a win for America.
Well, first of all, I hope there's a little civility while I'm answering the questions. First of all, as one of those boots.
Yeah, Rubio mentioned the canal as well. Top Cat, you are absolutely correct. A win is the control of the canal. So we have to look at it like this. Now, if we get control of the canal, that's a win for, I would say, the administration and the markets and shit, but that's going to be a whole nother situation. It's going to be Bush 2.0. We went over there to destroy their nuclear capabilities, but what did we come out doing? We actually came out securing that canal. They still might have some nuclear capabilities, but fuck it. We got that canal and their regime. We killed 40 of their regime leaders. It's another Bush 2.0. That's not mission accomplished. If they don't shut down this nuclear program for good, get a new deal struck to where they will not enrich uranium anymore, they give up the centrifuges, then it's not going to be a win in public opinion. Now, it could be a win, but it won't be a win in public opinion. Public opinion don't give a fuck about that canal, Top Cat. I'm going to be honest with you. Public opinion doesn't give a fuck about that canal. The thing that they are riding on is Iran cannot have nukes. It's the only way they win in public opinion is if they destroy the nuclear program.
that walked on that ground in Iraq in 2003. I think that nobody wants to see us repeat the mistakes of that operation. And for that matter, as we look forward to whatever emerges from this situation in terms of the government, I certainly hope we don't count on the expatriates to come in and solve the problem for us. But look, I think it's important to understand we didn't do regime change. It's highly unlikely we're going to do regime change. We've done what the president has said in so many words is we are doing a leadership decapitation as Israel did with Hezbollah. And he said to the Iranian people, I'm opening the door for you. You've got to figure out what to do after that. So where we are in the operation now, we've hit about 10,000 targets. We've got a lot of work to do. But at the end of the
Yes, what happened with Vietnam? We lost a lot of soldiers. We lost a lot. We lost a lot of money. We just had $1 billion defense system get took down allegedly in the Middle East. We go to Vietnam. Yeah, 3 million Vietnamese passed away. Nobody knew where Vietnam was or who the Vietnamese people were until we had 5 million soldiers over there. Took 3 million of them. Long drawn out war. It's crazy, man. My dad don't eat Vietnamese right now. Listen, chat, I tried to take my dad to a Vietnamese street food place, man. And he was looking at me crazy, like, why you bring me over here, man? Straight up.
You can't get mission creep in this operation. Seen it, been there, done it. We ought to stick to our end state that we're seeking, which is no nukes, no ballistic missile program of any size, and no proxies, because that was our end state at the negotiating table, and the negotiations failed. We shouldn't be changing our objectives just because we're using military force. The purpose of this military force is to get back to the negotiating table and finally get what 3 presidents, ever since we've discovered the nuclear program, has tried to get. Now, the fact remains is it's highly unlikely that we're going to see that anytime soon. And the only way we're going to get the Iranians back to the negotiating table for those purposes is through strong use of force. And look, you ask why now? And the very simple answer is, and legally a preemptive strike meets our conditions, do you want to be facing across from that negotiating table?
Why now? It's because of the damn blood moon, man. Why now is because Israel was already going to strike. Rubio just let that out today. It was coming regardless, man. Netanyahu already had the button pushed, man. It's either we were going to be active or reactive. Proactive or reactive, man.
A nuclear-armed Iran with long-range ballistic missiles. Better to do this now.
And just before I go to Glenn Greenwald, when I spoke to Vice President Pence, we talked about the parallels with Iraq, and he was quite scathing about Prime Minister Starmer's reluctance to get involved at the first stage of this operation, refusing to allow Americans to use the bases, the UK bases, and so on. What is your view of that? Because it did seem a marked departure in the normal practice of the UK to allow American forces to do that. Did you think that was a mistake by the UK Prime Minister?
No, Piers, you and I have been around a long time. We went through Iraq together. The fact is, I think that Starmer just did not want to be referred, as Tony was, as the British poodle. So I think what he wanted to do is give it a little bit of time, make it look like this is an independent decision of his, rather than being, we do have a special relationship, but we're not tied at the hips, and Britain is not a proxy for the United States. We knew, particularly if the Iranians started firing back, that Britain would come in the way that the Saudis and the Emiratis have come in. And one last comment. Anna, please quit using the tropes on American soldiers. I've had to bury 7 American soldiers. They went into the battlefield.
How is it a trope? How is it a trope? How is it a trope to see American soldiers die on behalf of Israel's wars? How is that a trope? Explain that to me.
Nobody's dying on behalf of Israel.
I'm not going to dignify that.
Let me read you. Let me read you what Israeli media has been saying. So, American soldiers came under friendly fire in Kuwait. I don't know if any of them have died. Hopefully, none of them have died. But on Channel 12, Niv Raskin said this: "We need to emphasize this is an incident involving American forces and not, heaven forbid, an incident involving Israeli forces."
And why is he
What do you have to say to
representative
that?
of anything, Anna?
Right, they saying who the fuck is he to be talking? I'm gonna be honest with you, chat. This is world at war, man. We got all of these countries involved. We still got Russia, Ukraine going on. We got all of these skirmishes. Pakistan still had that shit going on. Yeah, this is world at war, man. The beginning of it.
Who makes him representative of anything? Why are you
This is a
cherry
huge
picking
figure
him?
in Israeli media.
No, he's
saying
not
this
a
out
huge
loud.
figure. He's a talking head on
Sacrificing
a
American
morning show.
soldiers is totally okay, I guess.
Well, okay. Look, I want to bring in. I want to bring in.
I would like him to answer my question. Why is that considered a trope?
Okay.
Why is it considered a trope to be concerned about American soldiers during these endless, nonsensical wars? Why is that considered a trope?
How many
Explain that
times
to
have
me.
you gone to Arlington and paid your respects
I'm
to
not
American
talking to you,
heroes?
Conriquez, you terrorist piece of crap. I'm talking to the general.
Okay,
Tell me why that's
please keep the ad
How many
hominem
times have
down.
you honored
I
the
want
memory
to.
of fallen American soldiers?
Can we go back to the?
Have you paraded?
Answer the question.
Can I
How
can I
many
bring
times
some
have
order
you
to this,
honored
please? Jonathan, let me conduct the panel, please, because Glenn's been waiting very patiently. Before I come to you, Glenn, and I will give you plenty of time to speak, I can promise you that. General, just explain why you consider that to be a trope. And secondly, I was really struck by this friendly fire incident because I can't remember, I'm sure you will be able to correct me here, but has it ever happened before that 3 American fighter jets have all been downed in a friendly fire incident, apparently here by Kuwaiti forces by mistake as they went over Kuwaiti airspace? Can you remember 3 American fighter jets going down in friendly fire in one incident?
No. And I'm sure those Kuwaiti soldiers that fired those shots will remember that for the rest of their lives. Luckily, none of the soldiers, none of the airmen were killed. They got out of their aircraft alive and relatively unhurt. We call it the fog of war.
Yeah, and in relation to the
Why is it a trope?
fact you think it's a... Yeah, I think, be fair to Anna Kasparin, just answer her question, why you view that as a trope, what she said.
I'm not going to dignify it with a response.
You just want to smear me with nonsensical claims, but you can't even answer why you even believe in the smear. What is the trope? You can't answer it, right?
I'll tell you
Being
why.
concerned about Americans dying on behalf of
I want to come to Glenn.
apparently a trope. Everything that offends
You're a total hypocrite. That's what you are. You're a total
listen,
hypocrite.
the general's chosen not to respond. That's his right. I want to go to Glenn. Glenn, you've been waiting very patiently. Thank you. Look, this is a story. A lot of passions are going to run very high here. You know, I don't have all the answers to what I think is going to happen here. It does, to me, bring back a lot of bad memories from the Iraq War, you know, which was started in many people's eyes who perpetrated it for the best of intentions. Saddam was a bad guy, doing bad things to his people, killing many of them, running a ruthless regime, possessing weapons of mass destruction, and he had to be stopped. You know, I've been on this rodeo of rhetoric before, and it feels to me like we're on a very similar path now, but Iran is an altogether bigger and more difficult scenario than even Iraq was. You know, you've got 220,000 Revolutionary Guard. You have nearly 1 million regular army. You have many other paramilitaries, you know, hundreds of thousands more. This idea that America has, or Donald Trump has, that by doing these strikes, you're going to start a big revolution amongst the people on the ground. You know, they've got to get past 1.5 million very heavily armed people that will try and stop them. And we saw recently They stopped 30,000 of them by killing them. So do you think that the mission here is even achievable? And do you think what has happened is legal?
I am glad, Pierce, that we started the segment with Mike Pence because he is an American elected official who voted for the Iraq War in 2002, 2003, continued to defend it for many years. And unlike many American politicians who did that, who ended up saying they regretted it or it was a mistake, Mike Pence, to this very day, believes that going into Iraq was the right thing to do. And everything that he said in justification and defense of this new war was exactly the things that he and all the other American leaders who wanted this war in 2002 and 2003 were saying then. But it's not just the Iraq war. It's also exactly what happened in Libya. President Obama said, oh, don't worry, this isn't a regime change war. It's just to protect the people of Benghazi, and that it ended up being a regime change war that destroyed Libya. It's what we did in Afghanistan, where we were told, oh, we're just going in to get Osama bin Laden. And then 20 years later, our troops leave, trillions of dollars spent, huge numbers of dead, and the Taliban march right back into power. And you can even go back to Vietnam, where we were lied into that war, lied through that war by many of the same people who telling us now that we have to do this. It is astounding to me that somebody like Mike Pence or so many other people who lied to the public continuously, led our country into disastrous wars, one after the next, are now just speaking as though none of it ever happened. It would be like as if a journalist, I published 8 or 9 different fraudulent stories with fake quotes and fake sources. And then the next day I woke up and said, oh, I know I did those things in the past, but I think I should still have credibility for you to listen to my reporting today, even though I did all of that. The other point I want to make is I want to ask Jonathan, because I mean, honestly, it is very, very difficult, I have to confess, not just for me, but for the world, as the polls show, to listen to an Israeli official in an Israeli accent give lectures on the need to have compassion for civilians after everything we just watched Israel do, vaporizing tens of thousands of people in Gaza, all throughout the Middle East, attacking countries. But since he is here, I do want to ask him, Jonathan, there's a lot of reports in mainstream Western press about how the IDF has built its primary military and intelligence structures, not just within key residential areas in Tel Aviv, but also underneath. Is it true that the IDF has built key military and intelligence targets within residential areas of Tel Aviv and beneath residential targets in Tel Aviv, the way that the Western media has continuously reported? Is that actually true?
Yeah, I can give a relatively short and plain answer to it. Surprising question. I've read some of your reporting and you seem like an informed guy. Yes, the IDF headquarters, referred to as the Kiryat, is indeed located in Tel Aviv. It is surrounded by civilian buildings, and inside the headquarters, not underneath civilians, but underneath the headquarters itself, is a bunker, which is not a revolutionary concept.
I just have so much to say.
Of militaries, and that bunker is a few stories below ground. Its name is indeed the Zion Citadel, and that is where some of the Israeli officers, generals conduct military operations from. I suppose some of the strikes, if not all of the strikes that are ongoing in Iran today, are managed from there. When Iran targeted that location, they've targeted it now. They have targeted it in the past, and Hezbollah has targeted it in the past, and so have many others. You actually never heard anybody in Israel, definitely not anybody official, say, that isn't okay, and it's not a military target. It is a military target. We cannot move Tel Aviv out of the way, and the base is probably too big to move out of the way. And if it is hit, then it is on Israel, because it is a military target. But there is a very big difference here between doing that, having a properly marked and disclosed location, which is the IDF base. Everybody knows that it's there. And doing what our enemies do, which is hide underneath and between the civilian population, disguised as civilians and using civilians as human shields. There are no civilians above the base used as human shields. And there are no civilians that are told to be in a certain location so that our enemies won't strike.
Okay.
Because that's a cowardly thing to do. Yeah.
Pierre, can I just,
you've asked the question.
can I just make one quick point? Can I just make one quick point about the moral aspect that you raised? You know, you said none of us should be mourning a vicious dictator. And the one thing, the two quick things I will say about that is, you know, we were told that about Saddam Hussein. We were told that about Muammar Gaddafi. Certainly in Libya, we were told, oh, Muammar Gaddafi said that's certainly a good thing. What came after in Libya was some of the worst, most nightmarish dystopia that the world has seen in the past 50 years, certainly far worse than what it had under Gaddafi. And I think a lot of this depends on what succeeds in Iran. Is it going to be this incredibly destroyed state, balkanized with anarchy, where ISIS and Al-Qaeda can fill the power vacuum as they did with the invasion of Iraq? Is it going to be an even worse tyrant like the Shah of Iran was, or some other worse militias and factions? And then the other point is, it's a little bit hard to hear the United States.
All right,
and he let October 7th happen. You know, what's up, Plug? We were talking about you earlier.
All right, not much, y'all. I'm still live. Chat, everybody, we finna get ready to end this live. I guess I'll let y'all listen into this Discord debate for a little minute, but then I'm gonna end this live and we're gonna be in the Discord for the Discord wars. But nah, y'all go ahead, carry on.
Hey, Plug, it's Dorsey.
What up?
Hey, I was trying to do comments on both my phones. YouTube has blocked me some kind of motherfucker.
Yeah, because you kept saying F them countries. You just kept typing F them countries. They're not gonna let you just keep typing F them countries over and over. You probably doing that everywhere.
What's up, Ivana?
Hey,
So, Plug,
who
hey,
said that?
how are you doing?
Steve?
I
Good,
said
good.
Steve. I was always gonna say hi to you when I see your happy face.
Okay, I don't know if I'm streaming this live, so I'm not.
You cut out.
So, Plug, what we
Yeah.
were talking about you earlier, and what we were saying is that I lost Jared. He disappeared, but we were saying that, I mean, if you could call me a communist one day, that's funny. But I mean, you identify as a centrist, but I'm trying to say that what you are is you're independent. Because you can be a centrist Republican and a centrist Democrat. I don't think that you're part of any political party. I think you're independent. And I think that's better than being a centrist. Way better than being a centrist. You should tell people that I'm an independent. That's what you really are. You really are an independent, and that you believe your views are centrist, like in the center. I think that you lean conservative. I think that you have a lot of traditional values. I say you were straight conservative. I say that you lean conservative. You definitely are a firm believer in traditional values, and that's really kind of that's an independent who identifies as centrist who leans slightly conservative. So
But
that's what
see
I
what
think. I'm not
right.
putting you.
But well, that's how you would identify me because you really just can't. You know, that's just maybe what you see on the outside. But for me, it's more of like maybe traditionally that would be what you would say. But now we have to where there is no in between anymore. We have far left and far right. We see it. When it comes to the right going all the way far with where they're going now, and we seen the left go really far with what they're going now. So for me in 2026, yes, I oppose extreme views on either side. When it comes to the trans issues and the trans kids and shit, I view that as an extreme issue and I oppose it. When it comes to the way this immigration and ICE is being handled and the Somalis and all of those people being a soft launch into this war in Iran, when I see the Venezuelans and them, the soft launch between them opening their jails into us going and get Maduro and just all of those things, I just believe that those are extremes on both sides. And as a centrist, I would be in the middle.
Well, because like so, just all those views right there. For me, it's centrist to say I don't even talk about trans issues. I don't care about trans people. I don't care about the trans issues. You know, anybody has the right. Like small government means the government shouldn't interfere in that. So a true centrist, and I looked it up before we were on here, or other day after you said that, a centrist really believes that it doesn't matter either way. Like trans people have the right to exist, and the government shouldn't be involved. Less government. But I
Well, I'm
think that
looking at it
you
right now. It says centrism represents a political ideology situated between traditional left and right wing spectrums. I'm telling you that the traditional left and right wing spectrums are not what we're seeing anymore. Those have been gone for. Listen, let me finish. Characterized by a moderate stance avoiding extreme views. Centrists may hold strong moderate beliefs or lack of strong left or right wing convictions. The approach emphasizes common ground and pragmatic solutions. So I don't understand. I don't see how
so
I don't see how I'm
what is
outside of it.
your so I'll
I mean,
explain.
we can go
What
with
is
picks. No, see, this is the thing. You think just because you have to be you're a centrist, you have to be that on every single issue. No, some things I do, just like Republicans cross the line sometimes, Democrats cross the line sometimes, you're not gonna call them independent.
But an independent is about voting strictly, because if you're not registered with any political party, you're an independent.
Right.
That's
And
what
this is
independent
what I'm
means. It
saying.
means that you're
Centrist
not registered with any
prioritize
political party.
centrist thinking. Now, principal thoughts. Centrist thinking prioritizes practical, incremental solutions over ideological purity. Being pragmatic is a core principle, choosing policies for effectiveness and feasibility rather than strict adherence to doctrine. This approach improves evidence-based policy making, compromise, emphasizes moderation, and seeking common ground. Like, I
So
mean,
what would a centrist views look up on your computer what a centrist views to be about
exactly.
transgender?
That's what, yes, see, that's what I'm saying. You're going to a specific issue, Steve, and that's where I believe your thinking is flawed. Just because I take a stance on one issue doesn't negate how I feel about everything else. And that's the box you're trying to put people in. That's
Are
the
you
reason I
anti-woke?
gave. No, hold on. That's the reason I gave the example of Democrats going across the line or Republicans going across the line. It doesn't just have to be on a policy issue. It could be on governance. It could be on a thought process. But you're so stuck in that trans shit, and you think that because I oppose trans and kids being trans, that I couldn't possibly be a centrist because of that one issue.
Well, can I give an
And
example? Like, for example, go ahead.
No, finish.
I thought your time. So, for example, Bill Maher. Bill Maher identifies, he calls himself a liberal, but Bill Maher is kind of like a conservative Democrat because he's registered as a Democrat for sure. See what I'm saying? So he identifies as a liberal, but his views really aren't liberal. He bashes liberalism, but he really is a conservative Democrat. And one of the things is he's anti-woke, he's anti-trans, he's Islamophobic, and so his views, like, people no longer fall for it. They know where he lies. You see what I'm saying? And so just because he's I mean, he identifies sometimes as liberal, but in the end, it kind of comes out he leans
See, this is the thing.
conservative Democrat.
I don't give a fuck about Bill Maher or none of them. I'm talking about Plug and Steve. And I'm talking about centrism in policy and governance. Centrism principles translate into a policy that approaches integrating diverse perspectives for effective governance. In economic policy, this might involve supporting a mixed economy, combining free market principles with some government intervention. Such approach could balance economic growth with social safety nets. Regarding social issues, centrism often finds common ground on divisive topics, promoting dialogue and cooperation. This leads to policy addressing root causes while balancing competing values. For environmental policy, a centrist approach balances regulation with economic impact, seeking sustainable solutions considering ecological preservation as well as industrial needs. So that's my channel in a nutshell. We talk about this shit. Only thing that I am against is trans kids being transitioned. So Because I take a stance on that issue, you try to label me as something else is crazy to me. That's just crazy to me. Do you not see how that's crazy? I'm the one that has the conversation. I'm the one that brings the conversation forward.
We can move on to other issues because the only issue that we're really divided on is this issue. And so honestly, it's not like I believe that I'm what I call the 99%. And I think me and you agree on like 80%, maybe even 90%. So we definitely agree way more on that we disagree on. So that I'll say that. I want to make that crystal clear. Like that's why that always comes back to this issue because it's one of the few issues that we really don't 100% agree upon.
Right. Now, speak on it. You asked about the wokeism. Now, when it comes to woke, I believe woke was usurped. So when it comes to woke, I believe in quote unquote the original woke, what a woke was originally brought out as before it was usurped.
Yeah, you're like top counting that. So, but this is just my thought. My thought on it is that I think if Dr. King was still alive, everything that the woke community is about is what he would support. Like you can't, it can't just be about looking at like Black awareness. It started
Why
out as
can't
Black
it?
awareness.
Why can't it?
Noticing
Why
this,
can't it? Why can't it?
I'll explain. I'll explain why. It started out as that, and then everybody else started realizing, oh, we're all in the matrix. Because in Dr. King didn't just focus on Black issues. He was what got him killed was going in there looking out for
But what I'm
the
saying is, what you act
sanitation
like
workers.
Dr. King was the only civil rights leader. You act like Dr. King's opinion was the only opinion that mattered during civil rights. Let's talk
Well,
about it. We Black. Let's talk about it.
well, I'm talking about.
How many
Then
civil rights leaders were there?
let me
How
focus
many
on him
civil
first.
rights leaders?
Let me say,
Okay, but you want to focus on King to get your point across, and like King is the end all be all. When there was
no,
many civil rights
he's
leaders that had opposing views.
so real quick. He's the starting point for me because Dr. King changed from that. Like Dr. King was opposed to the war. What did he say about the Vietnam War? He goes, "My Vietnam brothers
What
didn't do
does
anything
woke
for us."
have to do with the war? The
Because
original
the whole
sense of
idea.
woke, the original sense of police brutality and blacks being treated unfairly, that was the original root cause of the woke movement. BLM, there was on 2K, the colleges had it and everything. Let's not misconstrue where this shit was, man. Let's be honest about
Okay,
it,
so
Steve.
that's way down the road. Like BLM
That's
is
not.
way down
They
the road.
was
And
man. They
also,
wasn't called. What was that? They was calling that shit civil rights movement, man. That wasn't a woke movement. People were saying that they're awake and shit like that. But the woke movement that we're talking about, that is what it is today, started when that boy got killed.
started with Trayvon Martin.
Correct. So you're
Trayvon
trying
Martin.
to take it all the way back to Martin Luther King to get a point across, and I'm telling you that that's some whole different shit.
Okay, so the reason why I take it back there is that was the origins of where woke came from. Now, modern day, about that, if you take a look at what started it,
So now we're going to
those the
attribute
women.
the whole woke movement. Hold on, let's get this clear. We're attributing the woke movement to Dr. King. Dr. King started the woke movement, is what you're trying to pass off right now.
So it started with the idea of Black empowerment. Like it really started first with with us saying that so it started with the Black in the 60s, the
So
Black
did it
empowerment
start with
movement. That's
Did it start with
Black
Martin
power.
Luther King? That's what I'm saying. Like,
No,
I'm just saying it started with the civil rights movement. It started with a lot of leaders. And Martin Luther King and Malcolm X had very opposing views. Exactly. And a lot of those Panthers had hold on. A lot of those Panthers had very opposing views to Malcolm X and Dr. King. We got to get all the way. We got to go back in to Huey P. We got to go into Jeff Fort. We got to go into Larry Hoover's. We got to go into Martin Luther King. We got to go into all of them. We can't just sit here and just say that Martin Luther King birthed all of this. And I fuck with Martin Luther King. I appreciate Martin Luther King. But if we're gonna debate this and we're not just conversating, if we're actually debating, let's put out the ground rules. The woke movement started with Trayvon Martin.
No, I would disagree. The woke movement started way before that. Woke started back with the Black Panthers were the woke. And what they
The
said
woke
was
that we're
not just
talking
about
about today, the woke that we're talking about today started in 2012. That's what
So
I
in
mean. We can go
2012,
all the way back then. Oh no, well, yeah, I believe that was the year. Wasn't it 2012?
so that yeah,
It
roughly
was. I know
2012 to
where I was.
2015.
I was
It
right around the
started.
corner from that area.
You're talking about the BLM movement as the BLM movement. Now the BLM movement started then, but and if you look at what they talked about, they were saying that. So it started as a hashtag, and because I recently listened to what she talked about. She says that when the Trayvon Martin thing happened, I think it was, and there was no justice in it because they let this guy off, and she says that something about his life mattered because well, our lives matter, Black lives matter. And she wrote a tweet to one of her friends. And one of her friends took that tweet and she put a hashtag on it, hashtag BLM Black Lives Matter. And she goes, "What's a hashtag?" She didn't know what a hashtag is, girl. And she put the hashtag on it and she sent it to all of her friends, and that's when it went viral. So if you listen to what they said when they say Black lives, they don't mean Black male lives. They mean Black female lives. They mean Black trans lives. All Black lives, and that includes the trans community. So that was a big part of it because
Well, that's
trans
why,
people were
and
being killed.
listen. Okay, Steve, I'll give you that. That's why a lot of niggas got the fuck off the bandwagon. That's why I don't subscribe to that woke shit no more. They lied. They
Yeah.
bamboozled us. They put it to the
I'm
world
always
like it
mad
was
at that.
about. Hold on, hold on. I don't need a cosign. They put it to the world like it was one shit, and it was usurped. Whether it was usurped from the beginning, whether we're gonna go into who the hell is talking over me like that? If we're gonna go into that, schematics and what this word mean and that word mean, we can do that. But as far as the blacks, the FBAs, the motherfuckers that got behind that movement, they didn't plan on it being no trans, LGBTQIA plus. That's why niggas got off the bandwagon and it became a liberal movement. Go ahead. Instead of a black
And
movement, it became a liberal movement.
And I'm a
from the
co-sign
beginning,
on that. That
okay,
shit
well,
was
he'll go
annoying.
cosign. And from the very beginning, what they were trying to say was that it's all Black lives have to matter. That's the part that I from the
Right.
beginning disagree with you guys on.
Listen,
Yeah,
this is the
from the
thing that
beginning.
we're talking about. All Black lives can matter, but it's the promoting, it's the usurping it. That's the whole thing. It started off as a Black life, then you gotta go to, oh well, let's do this for trans rights. This is not just black trans anymore. You got white trans involved, you got all of these people involved. What started out as a movement for black people was usurped. The same way that they're talking about taking the birthright citizenship. It's the same thing. It was usurped. Whether it's right or wrong morally, we can debate that as well. But what I'm telling you is that's the reason a lot of blacks got off of that movement. We started off, you asked me, how do I feel about the woke movement? And that was my answer. I supported it initially until it fundamentally shifted.
Yeah, and that's my point is that from the beginning, they were very clear because at the same time after Trayvon Martin got
It
killed,
doesn't. Okay,
there was
listen. If two people were clear about it, that doesn't. The movement wasn't clear about it. The all that shit came later. It was years after. Maybe they had it. Maybe they started it like, okay, we're talking about everybody, but the black people took off with it, and that shit was on the back burner. It got national claim to fame. It got on NBA 2K and shit. It got all of that shit. It was the black colleges, the HBCUs and shit like that, and then it was changed. That's all I'm saying. The niggas that was subscribing to that shit didn't know it. Whether we can say it started like that or not, nobody fucking knew that shit. Nobody knew that they were out here supporting all of this the alphabet letters. Nobody knew that shit. And once
yeah,
people found out about it, they jumped the fuck off the bandwagon.
and that's my whole thing because what was happening at the same time was that black trans were being killed by police too. And so they're brutalized just as bad as anyone else. Like they're still
And
black.
that they can have their
And
movement
so
then. But what's all so now you're saying they're still black. So is it all trans or
yeah,
is it black trans? You know what I'm saying? Like why if they're black, why define that they're trans? Why couldn't it just say Black Lives Matter? Why does it have to be
because
Black trans lives matter? No, because if they were black and we're saying Black Lives Matter and all of this shit, and it's about police brutality, no, they usurped that shit to make it to where motherfuckers had to call them pronouns and shit. That's what it was. It wasn't about police brutality. If it was about police brutality, it's like shit. Why define that you're trans, nigga? I can see that you black. I see it on you. You don't have to tell me your pronouns. You do that because you
So
choose to.
the Stonewall,
I don't have to tell
Stonewall murder.
anybody I'm black. I don't have to get out here and say, fight, you know what I'm saying? If we have a black movement, I don't have to get out here and tell anybody that I'm this or that. You can see the black on me. You see it on me, nigga.
Yeah, the
So
Stonewall
if it's a
riots
black
in New York.
movement, why does it have to be a black trans movement? Why do we have to identify the trans part of it? Nobody identified the women part. Nobody identified the kids part. Nobody identified the grandma, the auntie, the uncle part. Nobody identified any of the parts. It was just black until the trans came in. Why?
No, they did
To
identify it.
usurp the
The girl that
movement.
was killed. Can you hear me or not?
Yeah, I hear you.
Can you hear me or not? Yeah, no. That's not true. The girl that was killed, the black female that was killed, I forget her name, but they identified her as being a black female. They shot her in her own home. All right, she was a
Yeah,
black
Sandra
female.
Bland,
All
but
right,
they hold on. They weren't running around saying black female lives matter. They were still saying black
well,
lives matter. That's what I'm trying to
is
get you
she
to.
black?
Yes, it was Sandra Bland. Yes,
Yeah,
but she was
yeah,
black, right?
she's
They
black.
didn't say black women lives matter. They didn't say black men lives matter. But for some reason, you have to say black trans lives matter. Why? If it's all about black people anyway, why do I have to say black trans lives matter if the movement is truly about black people?
I'll explain that. It all falls under the banner of Black Lives Matter. And that's what they're saying. Their thing is, it doesn't matter if you're trans, if you're male, if you're female. All right. It started out with black men because black men are such high risk, and they're the most threatened population. All right. And black women have basically no right. They killed like 4 black women during that time period. And then the black trans who kind of got thrown under the bus. They're like, oh, who cares about them? They're just trans. They're not really black trans. They're just trans. And they're like, nope,
No,
it's still
that's the
Black Lives
thing.
Matter.
No, niggas didn't say that. That was probably the narrative, the mainstream media. If you would have said these black people got killed, nobody would have cared. But when you define it as trans and say black trans lives matter or trans lives matter, now it's not even that. It's went from black trans lives matter to just fucking trans lives matter now. All everything LGBTQ plus. It's like 27 different letters after this shit. They're even putting maps on this shit now. So do black minor attracted persons lives matter too?
I think that Black Lives Matter. Period. I don't care
I
how they
I don't
identify
think
it.
black minor
Because you're
attracted
male.
persons lives matter. That's just me. I'ma say it. Fuck
Yeah, and so that's where again where we disagree because the second you take the
it. You
protection
taking
off
up for
for the
black
transgender.
pedophiles. You know that, right? You taking up for black pedophiles, right? Or black people that like
How am I
fucking
taking
kids. But I
how
said
am I
black
taking how am
minor.
I taking
I
for black?
said if you like black minor, I said, are you taking up for black minor attracted persons? And you said yes.
I didn't catch that part.
Yes,
Like
that's
if
part of
if
the.
you're
That's
committing
what I'm trying to
if they're
tell you. The
committing crimes.
movement. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The movement has been usurped. They're putting maps, minor attracted people. When you look at that LGBTQ plus TIAIA, and it's like 27 letters. Look in there. One of those is for maps, minor attracted people. They're trying to normalize this shit, and that's what I'm trying to get you to realize. And you just said you agree with the shit. You just so
No,
gung
I
ho
don't.
on being for everybody that you didn't even listen.
I
That's crazy.
again, but that's a new term. I don't even know what it
All
means.
of this shit
But
is
as
new.
far as dealing, so as far as like anything dealing with like Epstein and that kind of stuff, I think you know where I stand on all that. Like Trump is one of those guys. All right, and they ain't doing nothing about that. Then Ehud Barak was mentioned in that girl's book. Right, they're doing nothing about that. Ludwig, all those guys they're all part of that movement. All right, and they're in power right now. So I think that I'm opposed to all that. And if that's the case, there's no protection for that from you in my book. Period. I don't care if you're black, white, whatever. There's no
Okay.
protection from that.
I'm glad
That's
you
not what I'm
cleared it
talking
up.
about.
Nah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
there's
Nah,
there's
you
no
you
there's,
right.
there's
You
no
got you. Nah, you got to clear it
there's
up.
no yeah there's that right there. That singles you out for being gotten rid of. Because you're all part of the Epstein class, and that's the billionaire class. If you get that much money, you shouldn't be around anyway. But that's a
All
whole
right.
different level. And my point is, we shouldn't try to use that like, oh, they're part of this to get rid of the Black Lives Matter movement. because
That's
that's
what
really
I'm saying. It
that's what the whole
stopped
woke
being
thing.
about black people. That's the thing. That's what
It,
FBAs are mad about with the whole woke movement. It stopped being about what it was for. We got on this bandwagon for this, and y'all want to put sugar, spice, and everything nice on the shit. And if it was just about black people, everybody has a black cousin that's likes whatever they fucking like. Everybody, they're not gonna say their lives don't matter, but when you specific it out, that's when you push a narrative. It stopped being about just, matter of fact, Steve, we kind of going in circles and we do have a lot of people in here. Let me
yeah,
welcome everybody. Hold on, let me
wrap this
welcome.
up.
I'm gonna give it back to you. Hold on. Carlos, Avon, Jared, Corey World, Next, Steve, Top Cat, and Too Strong. Welcome in. I'm sorry I didn't greet y'all, but go ahead and finish, Steve.
So I'll wrap this up real quick. And this is my key point. This is where woke came. The anti-woke stuff came from Russia. It came from Vladimir Putin, and this is where it comes from. This is why I have a problem with it, because it's really at its core is trying to get rid of actual black culture. It's trying to divide black culture to make black culture react so that you can lash out and you can round them up and get rid of them. And so that's why I don't buy into the whole anti-woke thing, because you can make it to be whatever you think it is, but the bottom line is being woke is about a black awareness. That's its origin. That's what it's always going to be. And so anybody who wants to be on our team, you're welcome, as long as you have aligned with our values for the most part, which is you don't discriminate against anybody. I'll leave it at that.
Like MAGA. MAGA started as one thing and now it's a different thing. Woke started as a one thing and now it's a different thing.
Oh, that's a solid point.
And that's what I've
Well,
said that for the
Going
longest.
through its
I've
little
said that
woke
for the
phase,
longest.
going through its puberty.
How long have
let's
I
take a
been
look.
saying
Let's
that,
take a look at
Jared?
that. Let's take a look at that, Jared. This is where the difference lies. Is that within the woke movement, you still got to look out for. It says you have black awareness. Okay, MAGA was never about looking out for America first, ever. That's what they told
Bro,
you, but it
nah,
was
the
never
political
about
That's
looking out
the
for
people that
thing.
were
America.
See,
making
Steve,
money with
hold
the
on. I
PLF.
got it. One second, because Steve said the same. Steve, that's counterproductive. Exactly what you're saying now about MAGA is what I'm saying about BLM. We thought BLM was only about Black Lives Matter and police brutality and shit like that, and then it changed. But you're saying that it always was something different. You see the similarities?
Name me anything that MAGA did that was actually looking out for America first.
Steve, it was the money, bro. It was the
Making
money.
That didn't answer my
making my
question.
wallet
This
fatter,
is the
bruh.
For the
thing,
gay
Steve.
people, the
It's
Disney
not a.
World,
This
it
is the
was
thing.
money.
So that's why it's a flawed question, because you said they thought. So now you're saying, what did MAGA do to make anything better? You have to ask the question correctly. You have to ask, what did MAGA think they were gonna do?
Well, the reason why I asked it that way is because the thing is, from
It's
the
because
beginning,
of
we kind of
debate.
knew
You
they
wanted to
were.
put them in a corner.
All,
That's why you did it. I know
all
how
you
to
gotta do,
debate. You asked a
all you gotta
flawed
do is
question.
just read Project 2025. Project 2025 was always their real end goal, and that's what Trump
Yeah,
is,
but
is
that
working
doesn't
on.
matter because the MAGA movement was sold as a "Make America Great Again" movement. It wasn't whether that's the real foundation of it or it was all bullshit. It doesn't matter. That's what it was sold as. So what Pug
Just
is saying
like
is,
Black
and I
Lives
kind of
Matter. Go ahead.
agree with him, and I kind of disagree with him
So if you
because
look at the Black Lives Matter
hold
website,
on. Give me a sec,
go ahead.
Steve. Because just like
Yeah,
the
man.
BLM movement was sold as a Black Lives Matter, and then it became the black transgender, this and that. But we could also say that the BML movement separated the transgenders to push them out,
But they
as if
only
they didn't
did that.
count.
They only listen. Let me say that they only did that because they forced the narrative. They tried to usurp it. If the trans would have just said, "Hey, I'm black and this happened to me too," nobody would have questioned. Nobody would have worried about whether they were trans or not. They wanted to make it about being trans. That's what I'm saying. None of Trayvon, none of the other people were making it about any gender shit. Yes, it started off as black men being treated equality. Then that Sandra Bland happened, but nobody said black female lives matter too. It
Yeah, but
was
we can have the
now,
same argument. Sorry, we can have
but
the same
now,
argument saying that the black community didn't see black transgenders as important.
No, they did,
Exactly.
but it was a no. What I'm saying is it didn't matter. That's the thing. It's not that we didn't see him as important. It's everything that's black. But you're trying to separate yourself from the blackness by being a black trans or being a black man or a black woman. It's black. If this movement is about black, why are you? Hold on, Jared. Jared, are you black? Hold on, Jared. Are you black? Hold on, Jared. Hold on, Jared. Jared. Hold on, Jared. Jared. What I'm saying is this: are you black before you get into this convo? Because I'm speaking from black people's point of view. Okay, you Hispanic. So hold on. Okay, so hold on a second. Let me speak from the black people's point of view. It didn't matter if you were short, tall, trans, not trans, hermaphrodite, male, female, until they made it that point. It's all about being black. Why do you have to separate yourself from the blackness by identifying that you trans? Nobody went out and said, "Oh, this black person died. Fuck them because they're trans." Nobody was saying that. No black people were. You show me where black people came out saying, "Fuck them trans that got killed because they're trans."
That's what I was trying to explain. Check it out. It goes back to the whole plus thing. Okay, you got what is it? BT or what is it? B or JTY or what are the letters
BLM.
again? Yeah.
BLM.
No. Being gay.
States
LGBTQ plus.
Okay, yeah. LGBTQ plus. Okay. L. What does L mean? Being gay.
Lesbian.
What does G mean? Being gay.
Okay.
What does trans mean? Being gay. What does plus? It all means being gay. They're
No,
just
it
adding
don't.
the
That's
plus to
correct.
just confuse you guys and kind of like mix everything up so everybody's all confused on what's going on. It all
And
means
it's
the same
gotten
damn
so
thing.
far, and it's gotten
To
so
you,
far
Jared.
that,
You're not
and
part of the
hold on,
community,
and it's
right?
gotten
So
so.
that's to you.
Okay,
Listen,
can I answer this
this is my
question
thing.
since I'm a
Yes,
black?
I'm
Definitely.
gonna give you the floor,
I
Mama
think
Money.
I'm the only black woman up here because I don't know who next.
My bad,
who
Mama
the
Money. I'm gonna give you the
KN.
floor right after this. You have to
Okay.
include maps because they're adding maps to it. Like people are saying, "Oh, that's new or
But
whatever."
they're not. They're not
They're
adding maps.
man. Come on,
No.
Carlos. They're trying to. They're
No.
trying. I
No, they're
just watched.
not.
No.
I
I
just
just
No.
researched that. They're
Man,
not.
I
Yes,
just
they
watched a
are.
No.
woman talk
No.
about it, man. Y'all can, all right, man. Y'all can act like they not. Who's the one to make the fucking call?
Yo,
That's the
plug
thing.
though.
Who's the one to make the
Listen,
call?
plug. Can I say something too?
Let Mama Money
Listen,
have
what
the
you're
floor.
saying
Mama, hold
is that
on.
there
Mama
was a
Money got the
controlled
floor.
opposition.
Hold on. I told Mama Money to hold on. She got the floor. You can talk after her next.
All
Go
right.
ahead, Mama Money.
Okay, good morning. Well, it's morning for me, but evening for everybody else. Okay, let me kind of add some information on the BLM movement. Why I agree with what Plug said about when they separated and started specifically saying Black trans instead of just keeping it under the umbrella of BLM. That caused a divide and it caused the public to pick sides
Exactly.
because they knew if they put a spotlight on the trans, and I'm not even using black on it, just the trans community, because that has been a very hot topic, and the government or people want to discuss this highly and cause more division because it does create chaos and division. So they did that on purpose. They put the spotlight on the Black trans movement and took it away from the Black movement. And that's where a lot of Black people had an issue because once you take the spotlight away from the main reason that the organization was founded, you lose people. You're going to lose people. You're going to lose credibility because a lot of people still don't agree with the trans community, and that's just fact. Everybody has their choice of who they want to deal with or beliefs or whatever. So it took the spotlight off. They have been doing that to the Black community forever, even with the civil rights movement. I remember, I don't know, a lot of people don't agree with Judge Joe Brown, but the man is very wise when it comes to legal stuff. I don't care about his drinking problem and whatever, but he knows the law and he knows a lot of those things. He said he worked on a committee that read through everything that had to do with the civil rights movement. He said they purposefully left a back door so other groups can jump on the bandwagon for the civil rights movement, even though the public was told that the civil rights movement were for the Black, quote unquote, Americans to have something. And if we're all being honest, we really haven't gotten too much from it. But everybody else that jumped onto the Civil Rights Movement Act, they received more than the people who the Civil Rights Movement was actually created for. And that's why a lot of people were upset when the Black Lives Movement kind of changed and the spotlight was taken away from what the original creation of it was for. And then here comes the fraud. Of course, there's crooked people in every organization that took the spotlight off of why it was created in the first place. And people start saying it was a scam and it was fraud and whatever. But that was not the main reason why the group was created. So I understand where Plug is coming from. And I understand why a lot of people left because that was not why it was originally created. And once you start breaking into the subgroups and calling each subgroup as the main group, I see where the confusion lies. So that's what I had to say on that. So I don't know who else was speaking next.
Next was next.
No, I completely agree with that. I completely agree with what Plug was saying. All I wanted to say to you, Plug, was the same way as it feels a little and what's the word? I wrote it down. Hold on one second. Controlled opposition. The same way as it felt like a controlled opposition, that map shit. It's like an egg and an egg and an egg and an egg. That map shit might be fake. That might be another controlled opposition because that shit
This,
seems way too crazy.
nah,
You
this
understand
is
what I'm
what I'm
saying?
gonna say. Nah, I got a response to that. Can y'all hear me? Now when it comes to the maps, now the LGBTQ plus is not accepting the maps, kind of like Steve just said, hey, look, I don't support none of that shit. But it's the maps trying to align themselves with them. They made a flag, that's kind of the similar colors, but yeah, the LGBTQ plus is shunning them. But who's to say? It's about public perception, right? It's just like, you know what I'm saying? It's yes, the LGBTQ plus is saying we don't fuck with them, but the maps, people don't know what the fuck that is. They look at the flag, the little flag that they're trying to go, and then you go on YouTube, you look at these interviews and these people that are minor attracted people, they're aligning themselves with the LGBTQ plus. So whether the LGBTQ plus accepts them or not, these people are trying to align themselves with them, and that's all going back to the root cause of this debate where we kind of started.
Yeah, I agree. That's
Talking
that's
about
controlled
where the plus
opposition.
comes from. That's exactly where the plus comes from.
No, dude. So this
That
whole
has
thing,
nothing to
for
do with the
example,
plus.
Alan Dershowitz. Alan Dershowitz is a lawyer who's part of that idea of making it younger age of consent. Okay, Elon Musk right now, his offices should get raided. His Twitter offices in France just got raided because Grok is basically putting out child pornography, and it's using like fake images of kids and it's making child pornography. That's all part of that movement. So like Next was saying, that's definitely controlled opposition. Now they're not part of the LGBT community because most of them are heterosexual males, so they're not part of the LGBT community, and they'll never be accepted as part of the LGBT community. That's a whole different thing, but you know, yeah, I'll let it go with that.
Once
Hey,
again, I'll
can y'all hear me?
reiterate. Yeah, you can go top.
Go top.
I've been waiting patiently, man, because I just been like fueling on some of y'all questions, so maybe I can answer some of y'all questions or lead you in a good direction. So I'm gonna start where I was at and then progress. And please, y'all, try to go ride with me through this because I'm gonna try to cover all the shit. So when we go back to the woke movement, what a woke movement was something that was created since education was taken away. So every time there was a movement, it was kind of considered the woke movement, and it got shut down every time. And at first with violence, then legal systems and different situations, all the way until we got to the point of having Black Panthers and stuff. So Nat Turner was a woke movement. That was called a woke movement because it's anytime that it came to a point of Black people discovering who they are, it was a woke movement. Like you got woke up, you didn't know you got put to sleep. You didn't know, you thought your people came from Africa and your people came from Jamaica and they just moved them over here. Like you're waking up. So as all of them actually truthfully got Bible in their life, started getting education, they became woke. So those movements got usurped every single time. So I'm gonna skip ahead, say this is from the beginning over here till now. So now we're in like the 70s. Okay. So the woke movement in the early 1900s was real strong, and then it got knocked off by those red summers and different situations because those people with their chance. That's why they call them the greatest generation. They were the woke generation at their time. That's what they would have called them, because their education and how many people were graduating from college and all these different things, where you just by numbers and what each one of them could accomplish, they knew they had to do something about them. They were graduating a very high amount of lawyers and doctors and all these different things. You had to do something. So they killed that woke movement, which was pushing the educational movement of the next generation, which was the hard working generation. And then you go into the boomers kind of in that situation. So now we're all the way up to the 70s. And now we're talking about the woke movement, Black Panthers, and these different things and how they move forward in their movement. So they got education, they got work, they got money, they got built up neighborhoods and learning apparatuses, universities and stuff. So they usurped them by the same means. So this was the first time that I believe it was a gay club situation, and it wound up being the reason I'm saying it used to be a black girl, a lesbian black girl was the first one. I believe it was in New York or something
Yeah,
to
New York.
stand up
So,
rights
Stonewall.
situation for
Yeah.
this. So that I knew you was gonna know about it, Steve. So that's why I said bear with me. So as we move into that was the first time that after that she had a movement there and a protest, and they joined themselves with the civil rights movement. This is why people were so pissed off with Jesse Jackson, with the Rainbow Coalition and all that type of stuff, because that was the first time he kind of put his push forth and thinking he needed those type of things to move into the political realm. So that's where you get at the point of them saying all of us was included. So now we see, I just told you about the woke stuff. It got usurped to the 80s to early 90s. Now we're going to get into exactly what you guys are talking about. You know what I'm saying? So when we go into this BLM thing, this thing had been going on for a while, but the woke movement was a consciousness. So it's always about truthfully religion, education, and people coming into their own of knowing that they have an identity other than what the United States has given them, to just be terrible, just be workers, and you'll never be none, and you're smart, you're less than human. So as you wake up and find out that that is not necessarily who you are, they always usurp it. So in the 1990s and stuff, so this BLM stuff, all these people are going to school for journalism and all this stuff. So the same different things that are happening, like that happened to R. Kelly and different stuff. These people are going to school and getting major education on certain things, and then they put it into what they want to do. So I'll write a book or I'll do an investigation, all the different things. These are how all these people are getting in trouble. So these same girls that he was talking about, the ones that are supposedly, I believe it's three different girls that are creators of BLM. These three
Yeah.
girls, went to college. They're educated. Now, I believe they all might be schooled in civilian socialism and in journalism. They have these different type of wild. I'm gonna be a reporter type masters in college. So when this happened, like Steve was describing it, this is going on between people that are trying to decide what's going on in their lives. It blew up fast. So they were a movement And then they turned into an organization. To become an organization, you have to register, you have to do different things. So that means that you have to kind of pretty much put a business plan or a mission plan together and all these different things. So in the beginning, it was a movement where we were all sitting up there saying just Black Lives Matter, this and that, this and that. So it spurred forth from these girls. Now I'm gonna hit y'all with the stick. Some people might be mad at me or whatever, but they was all kind of, lesbians. They was a little faggotish about their stuff. That's what they were. So when the mission statement came out, you know what I'm saying? Like about
Yeah,
the whole
keep going, keep
thing.
going, keep cooking.
So the whole thing, when it came out, you didn't never know that you were listening to people that were dealing with the society and the way that they were dealing. You were just going on the movement of what you heard was good, and you thought that basically every person. I'm not talking about black people. Every person put in their head this satirical, beautiful thing, like Martin Luther King type situation. When the girls were never thinking that. And the reason I can prove this to y'all is if you go back and read their mission statements. Their mission statements from the beginning talks about everything that they're trying to do. They said that the whole point of this is to put the male black man in the back seat, put him back there. We have deprived them from moving forward. That's why you never seen a woman walking side by side with Martin Luther King. That's terrible. They had something, they talked about Martin Luther King in the mission statement. They talked about Malcolm X. They showed how they were not going to be, it was a complete feminist movement and then a feminist gay type lesbian movement. So everybody was signing on to this and doing this, and this is what really is terrible, because they say when you can hide where you want to hide something, when you want to hide something from a black person, you put it in the book. So everybody jumped on their site and signed up and did it. I know half of them.
Damn, I can't hear them no more. Too. Oh, shit.
It's no point that they're saying they're fighting for a complete section of humanity is like off. So males are off. So that same woke movement was usurped by that, because the consciousness, if you was looking at how things were going there, people were getting educated. There was consciousness. There was these different situations, and then it got usurped again by your care, by your love, because these are our family. But when they put that in there and they said that, it was like, okay, well, this is for the LB. Okay, so why do they have to be special? What makes, okay, now I'm gonna go look at the bylaws. And that's what Plug was saying. Then everybody fell off, but it happened way before then. And nobody ever paid attention that these girls were lesbians and what they were representing before they just said BLM. Well, that's something we all feel. We all black. But so they usurped the BLM, and it was an LGBTQ thing the whole time. So if everybody didn't think they had a pink bow on, every time they was running around, you had a pink bow on. You know what I'm saying? You didn't know that you were actually pushing and protesting for that. And what you were thinking you were protesting for was just a low key situation. That's why you didn't even see the real ones out there. So when they made this thing from a movement to a into an actual organization or a program, these are when the bylaws are being set down. Before it was a movement, we could all just go represent with the flag and be who we was. Now we're an organization. We have bylaws. We have chapters. We have all this stuff. All these things that come from them fraternizing in college. All right, so we've been usurped by a situation that is not there. It, being black, Black Lives Matter, all that is a mask for them doing what they were educated to do and actually having a blessing in the aspect of just a slogan putting them there. But they really weren't talking about lives or caring about things, period. Because all these things wouldn't matter. Life and death would matter. So they took the woke movement. So everybody's happy that the woke movement got taken by that. So now they use it. They love to discriminate it, speak about it, talk about it. But then it goes down in the Bible that this isn't just a word. It says that the Most High's people will be awakened at a certain time. So that's where woke comes from. It comes from the book that we will be woken up and we will be put in the places that we're supposed to be and stay away from all the wars and all the tragic things that are going to happen, and then you will be put in the kingdom and put in your place in the kingdom. Do not make yourself a man and all these different things. That's what woke was supposed to be of. That's where segregation and all that was working perfect, like Plug was talking about. We had neighborhoods that were perfect, no violence. We handled everything. Family was together. We were successful. We had a plan in order, and then it all just gets tore down. Boom, violently. It's not like, okay, we're not even economically, it's violently. They actually make strange fruit and kill you. So it's a complete different aspect when we talk about what woke really meant. You know what I
It
mean? What it means is
started back
completely
in the
different.
day in the schools. Like when you think about it, a school
No,
is almost like a prison. If you
it's
think about it,
when
a
you
school,
couldn't read. It started when you had to you were cheating to read. Somebody was risking their life to teach you to read. You're getting woke up and you're getting something. So over time, that's the same issue. So yeah, it got to schools, but it was there way before then. Is what I'm saying. Like
yeah,
being woke up.
they were using that to what do you call it? Brainwash the people since the beginning. It started since they were young, since they were in school. The brainwashing
What's
had begun.
what are you
That's called
talking about?
that's being sleep. And that's what and this is what I'm saying. The Germans have an opera that they sing and say, don't make too much noise or something. They sing, let the niggers sleep so they don't wake up, keep the niggers sleep or some shit. You can look it up. That's what I'm saying. And this was opera written in the late 1800s or 1900s. See, that woke situation has been pressing through its historical um situation. That's why the word is being used, because it survived through time through these type of situations. So yeah,
Uh,
that was just the
I
woke thing. I probably have more, but shit, I kind of ranted on that. Go ahead, y'all, on whatever y'all want to ask me or talk about.
want to say one thing about that. I mean, I agree with you on like 90% of that, and this is just one place that we can disagree in a friendly way. I don't really agree with things necessarily being usurped all the time, because I think a lot of times that, for example, your spot, like, that's probably the best explanation of the BLM and woke thing I've heard in a long time. You broke that down very well, and the history of woke, and I agree to that. But the thing is, though, like you said from the beginning, they were always part of the LGBT community. We just didn't know that. And the thing is, the truth is, they were the only ones who actually got out there and said, "Hey, we get to worry about these." They didn't first say we get to worry about LGBT rights. They said we get to worry about black males are the most endangered, and they're
Because
the
they knew
very
that
first
shit
people to
wasn't
come out
gonna go
for it.
on. They knew that shit wasn't gonna go on. If they would have
Well,
just
I
kept it at
understand.
black people, it would have been all right. They knew that if they came out there saying this is for the black lesbians or the black whatever, once they identified themselves outside of blackness, it wouldn't have went as far as it went.
But the thing about it, it's like he's saying, it didn't start. They didn't start with intentions. Like, they were doing their own thing. This happened, and it was literally a hashtag over Trayvon Martin that they were talking among themselves, and they shared that hashtag among their own friends group, and that's when it exploded. So they had no intention of doing this, but then, like you said, they said, okay, we should make an organization about this, and they made an organization with rules and everything. And if you go look at their charter, they outline very clearly who they are and what they represent, and what they're there to defend. And uh, a lot of times, I don't think, like, for example, if it's from BLM, it's from BLM. Period. So they can't hijack their own stuff.
Nah,
It's
'cause
from
that
the
ain't
instigator.
BLM though.
But
That's
well,
not BLM.
you again, Hop already explained this to a letter. Yeah, it is BLM. BLM is an
No,
organization.
fuck that. No, it's not, because the reason why your story is they wrote
That's what I'm
BLM
saying,
because
bro.
somebody said BLM. So BLM
It,
already existed. They
Hold on,
no,
this is what
hijacked
I'm
that
gonna
no,
say.
fucking thing
no,
and
This is
got a
what
lot
I'm
of
saying.
money,
No, this is
got
what
a
I'm
lot
gonna
of
say.
white people
no,
money, a lot of
So
Starbucks
no,
money.
next,
hold on. Steve is
no.
in a debate mode. I
BLM
got
is a
it. I got
hashtag.
it. Let me get it. Okay, so yes, BLM was a hashtag. It went on, did what it did, and you're saying that they can't usurp a movement because it started off as this. What we are saying is it's kind of like me. It's kind of like me saying, "Hey, look, I care about I care. Let's just say I love baseball, but I know baseball is not gonna get me nowhere. Or let's just say I care about baseball, but I make a football tweet. The football tweet blows up. Everybody follows me from the football tweet, but then I just change my shit to baseball because baseball is what I really wanted to promote. Now, when people jump off of this train, I cannot be mad at them because I wasn't clear in defining my messaging from the beginning. They thought that this was gonna be some football shit, and now that's the same thing that was kind of going. I've been through shit like that throughout my content creation. I'm just using that as an analogy. People might think that something is going on, and or they might, they might have a few things going on, and the thing that they really don't want going on goes viral. And that's what they double and triple down on. Then they go back to what they originally knew. You can't be mad for people not fucking supporting what you originally wanted when they came in under the guise of something else.
I'll use your analogy then, Pluck. So you're a announcer for the Dodgers, okay? Your Dodgers baseball announcer, okay? But then all of a sudden, at the end of the season, you cover the Super Bowl, and a bunch of people jump on your bandwagon because you cover the Super Bowl, and then you
Yes.
start doing this Dodgers season again, and they're like, hey, what about that? Because I only do that once a year. I did it only at the Super Bowl. I'm really into baseball. Then I mean that's not about them. That's not about you. That's about them because you've always been this. And like Plug's saying, I'm saying like Topcat saying, it's in their charter. It just fits
Correct,
totally their
correct.
charter.
But what I'm telling you is that just because that might be true, that doesn't mean that I knew that, right? So now when I know the information, it's my choice as to, choose to align with it or not. You're saying that it's a problem because these people don't align with it anymore when they never knew the full truth to begin with. I'm saying
But
it's not a problem.
they still
Hey, I'm
once
gonna
a
tell you.
year. Go ahead, Topcat.
from
Always go ahead.
from point of them, like I'm gonna give y'all a little bit more description. That's why I said they got out of college. This is what they do. So say the one's in marketing, the other one's in business, the other one's in contracts, whatever. They already have this, and they're sitting there just with their heads going, and they're just living life, working jobs, or doing whatever they're doing, and they have all this specialty to put towards something. And that's what's been happening. That's why R. Kelly in jail. Somebody took their time and went and got all these interviews and put all this together, made a whole case for somebody and wrote books. And somebody that was mad at him. That's what there's enough people just doing these. They're just in these situations. These three girls happen to be in that situation, but they were from a diverse communities, if you understand what I'm saying. So in the aspect, that's what you were dealing with in the first place. So something that they weren't even thinking about, they got to invest all their education and everything in at the right time. So like we're like all of us are saying, where are we going to head in life? And this just blew up and we can't slow it down. So let's use our skills to put it ahead. And they made a nice little chunk out that stuff and deceived everybody. And they put their charter in the front. But as a
Again,
regular person, you're just sitting here saying Black Lives Matter. What do you think when you hear Black Lives Matter? Like, okay, Black Lives Matter. That sounds good to me. You know what I'm saying? Shit, anybody's lives matter. It sounds pretty good. But
That's
their
what I'm
whole
saying.
push was
Nobody was saying black gay, black lesbian lives. Nobody was saying black, farm boy lives or whatever you call it, man. Nobody was saying that. Everybody, but when it came to black trans lives, it was like you had to separate yourselves, and that's what I believe caused the problem.
yeah,
That's what. That's when it.
I I
They
don't
did
think
it
they
so.
separated themselves. I
That
I
made it
think that
real
you
easy
guys,
for the opposition to be like, ha ha, look at those
yeah,
retards over there. They want to
no,
wear fatigues and then put glitter on it. You know what I mean?
that and that's and that's
That's what
and that was
happened.
the
nobody.
problem. It was an opposition, like the opposition. I mean, it's the Russian people, and then that turns into MAGA because Putin
Fucking
controls
Russia. No,
them.
it
That
was
started.
America, bro.
No,
The
bro,
Russians.
do your research. Anti-woke came from Russia. You can look it up for yourself. Look at the orders of anti-woke in Russia, and it will outline it right there. That's when they pushed all these bots and these memes, and that's when it all came to the United States.
I mean,
and
you
it
blaming Russia
divided
and you
divide
blaming
us.
all these people, but all they had to do was keep this shit about black people. I don't see what you don't understand about that. Nobody was saying,
They're black
show
plus.
me
They're
one
still black.
example of people saying black trans lives don't matter before this shit came,
That's
before all
easier.
of this shit.
That's easier.
Before all of this
In
shit,
in
in the beginning, people were
in
saying
Fort
black
Worth,
trans lives don't matter.
yeah, in Fort Worth that happened, and because I was working there at the time in 2018, it happened in Fort Worth when two
You
black
talking
men
about, hold
shot
on.
two
You're
Christians.
talking, you talking about 2018. The trans had already tried to put their bid in well before 2018. So I'm saying before they tried to separate trans and black people, when was it a problem? The trans just wanted to get their agenda out there, in my opinion. They cared more about being trans than they did about being black. And that's when it became a problem.
2017 is when BLM formed. That's Trayvon Martin.
I mean,
That's when
that's 2017 is when it was actually officially formed, but they was running with that shit,
Hey, though, but for the record, I knew living in Orlando in 2012, I knew a lot of gay black people that were like, "What the fuck are y'all talking about the gay shit?" They were offended. Gay black men were offended about the whole gayness on it. Just throwing that out there. I'm not saying this or that. Just I gotta give a shout out to the people who I'm remembering in my head when someone said something that made me think that. Yeah, just by the way.
I mean, we can't verify or deny that. So okay, I mean, if you say so, I mean, I accept your word on it.
I
But
mean, they
Yeah,
saying
I'm
that
saying,
now. A lot
but
of
just
the LGBTQ is trying to drop the T right now. A lot of people in the LGBTQ is trying to drop the T.
yeah, I know there's a lot of transphobia in the LGBT community, especially with black, not sorry, black males like males who
it's not
identify
just
as
that. It's
gay.
not just that. If a black gay
Let me
man is
finish.
talking about black rights, and then some coffee loving person wants to interrupt him
Come
and
on,
say, "Yeah,
Corey
but what
World.
about
I'm
gay?"
live, bro. Don't do all this
It's
shit.
like, dude, I was talking about black things. I wasn't talking. It's the same exact argument, plug. If you're trying to get that point across, but you happen to be gay, and then they want to throw in, "Oh yeah, but you're gay." It's like, bitch, I wasn't talking about I was gay. You know what I mean? Like that does happen as well. I'm not saying that that's the rule, but I'm just throwing that idea out there in this conversation.
There's
Nobody
a this
hate.
is,
It's
go
gonna
ahead.
be
Okay.
from deception in this situation from the beginning, like it's been every time. They got in a fight with the police at a gay club in New York, and they were saying they were being discriminated on because of what they did and how they were, and most likely so. But that was because of your actions and what you were doing, not because of what you were. And you usurped something that was on the action, wasn't on somebody's actions, but on the point of them being a human being, and took that whole movement and pushed it, and Harvey milked it to a whole different situation. So that's one exploitation. Then we go back into the 50s, another exploitation. That's where you get your Malcolm X's and your Martin Luther King. Then you go back to his father, and you're gonna find each time there was people reading, getting to places, and getting woke, and they had to do something to get in front of it. And now once you have got people's minds to where they can separate themselves, and they were a group that had power, and now they're separating themselves by what they do instead of what they are. Now you have control over them. Now you can sway and control their population by the things that you let one side have, and the things that you respect on the other. So now you already
So
have politically built them up. Now that it's not a political strength like it was. Like,
opposition.
yeah, but
go ahead.
one thing you gotta keep in mind is that during the George
Yeah, I see
Floyd
Jay
movement.
trying to speak.
Go ahead, Jay.
No, I was just saying that now you have control opposition.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. There is controlled opposition. But during the George Floyd movement, during the George Floyd protest, I mean, that's not just black males coming out, you know. That was everybody coming out and saying, "Hey, you're absolutely right." And a lot of times LGBT people actually do the research and they study and they know the origins of the black empowerment movement. And they support that. They go, "Hey, does that apply to me too?" And that's what you seem. That's what you guys seem to be hating on. You're like, no, it doesn't apply to you because you're not black, so it doesn't apply to you. But it's equal rights are equal rights, and that's what Dr. King was trying to say, that everybody has equal rights,
And what did
even
Dr.
the
King
Vietnamese.
say? What was the last thing he said? I fear I may have led my people into a burning house, a house of fire. So you can't leave that shit out either.
Yeah, but what was he talking about? He's talking about integration. He's talking about when we integrate, it's going to probably harm us. That's what he's talking about. To be crystal clear, and you can look it up. That's what he was talking about, and he was right. He was right
He was talking about
because, like,
and immigration. He was talking about both. Now look
yeah,
and look at the difference. He was talking about integration and immigration. He was talking about both.
okay.
You know,
But Dr. King
but on it,
supported Cesar Chavez. He sent him a letter. He supported Cesar Chavez, and he has to because you just can't have equal rights for yourself. That's what
no,
MAGA
you're
does.
not. And when somebody usurps it and you become not even a part of the civil rights, then that's when it becomes an issue. Now you're just bait. You're just everything you use here. We have everybody that comes as an immigrant still has land that has its principle and its cost and its price that they can, like, actually, it's where they're an extension from. That doesn't happen for the ones that are just the wanderers here. I mean, in certain circumstances, they make us nothing but gypsies on this land. Like all we're doing is roaming around because we have nothing that we supply except for what we can physically do. We have no land. We grow nothing. We have no oil. We have none of this stuff. And the ones that do, they're usurped too. They have to go along with what's going on to be able to produce or even actually make money with what they have or what they produce. So we don't have a standpoint. You know, we they say it's country cooking or soul food. It still ain't no black. We don't even have we can't even get a cuisine. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's African American food. What the hell is that? You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy. That's why I say once you look at it, what they keep jumping in front of, they never let us finish to actually have our own spot. We never get to finish. They're like, okay, well, they almost finished. If somebody else come in and get their rights, somebody else come and get, make it even for everybody else. Well, we ain't never had a chance. So it's kind of crazy because everybody else has their constitutions. If you're an immigrant, you have your constitutions from where you come from. And then you're saying, I like this constitution better and going there, or I like the situation better, or I can survive. It's a whole bunch of things. What happens when you have no choice? And then your own constitution, you're fighting around with it just to actually be a human being. It's a different situation. So yeah, it was both. And he signed that when he talks about, you say he signed that letter with Chavez, that's right out here where I live at. And like you said, it's a burning house. It was a burning house. There was nothing wrong with it and nothing right about it. But the people right out here, when you were supporting them, you weren't supporting your own people when you signed it. You made sure that all them young people didn't have no reason to have summer jobs or have that same, what I'm saying, gidget twisted ass summer like all the ones in Orange County were having. No, they didn't get those summer jobs. They didn't get that extra money.
Ain't
They
nobody
just
talking
took
about
their
summer job. Ain't nobody talking about summer job working out, picking strawberries, bro. It's not a summer job. Nobody wants to go out there and pick strawberries. And that's what we're fighting. That's what we're fighting
you're
specifically for farm workers'
me
rights.
right.
100%.
Pay me, and I'll go pick whatever the hell I need to pick. Pay me. If I get the warehouse and get numbered, like if I don't move this many boxes in this many hours, I'm gonna get fired. I can't go pick some damn strawberries. That's why I keep saying it. Everybody's lying. Like you're still
You
working
can get a job
every day.
tomorrow. You can get a job
Every
tomorrow. Go
day.
pick up strawberries. Get $18 an hour and $2 a bushel. You can get a job right now. Just look it up. It's easy. They're always
Yeah.
shorthanded. They're always shorthanded.
See,
Always
because that's
shorthanded.
easy. I bet if that happens, I'm gonna start giving them 15 and keeping me 3 off of it for the 2. I'm gonna be my own employment agency because I didn't know this. They're gonna be out there plucking. Please,
Good luck with that. I'm just
everything
saying that's out there. You can just go it up and auction.
what's the difference? Move strawberries or move boxes?
Well, I want
What's
to know why can't people be like Morgan Freeman and do the whole? Why does it have to be African American? He's always like, I'm American. He doesn't say
Fuck
I'm
Morgan Freeman.
African American.
Fuck Morgan Freeman. Fuck Morgan Freeman. And fuck Judge and
Nah,
fuck
Morgan
Judge Brown
Freeman's my
too.
dog. That's just his
Nah,
opinion, man. He
fuck
said,
him and
"Fuck Morgan Freeman."
fuck him and fuck Judge Brown too.
No,
That
that
guy is
was
as
that was
clean as
awful.
it gets.
Fuck that shit.
And while we're at it, fuck Clarence Thomas. Like fuck all of them.
And you know what?
Yeah, but I
That'll
think
be
Morgan Freeman he's not Clarence Thomas though. Why you do him like that? That's like fuck Denzel Washington. Why you say no?
Shit,
That
Tomcat, if you really want to get out there and pick strawberries and shit, go on
Fuck
Indeed.
Denzel Washington.
There's hundreds of jobs
Yeah,
out there paying 18 to 20
hundreds.
bucks an hour.
Yep, hundreds.
well, y'all gonna have to show them to
Denzel
me because
Washington.
I'll
Yeah,
be
y'all gotta
looking
show
at
him to
different
me too, man, because I don't know what the fuck you talking about.
here trying hard to get gigs and doing little stuff. They're not the smartest of the boat. These are the jobs they made for and they can't get it. But I also do live in the highest paroled area in the United States. So I don't know. You know what I mean? There's a difference on how they
They
have to
pay
hire and
20 bucks an hour and 250 for, I guess, the crate or whatever.
hmm That's tight.
So the jobs are out there. People just don't want them.
Talking about Florida.
Man, that's an
No,
old
I'm talking
ass
about
argument.
California.
No, that's
I'm talking about.
California,
Oh
dude.
man, I was talking
Bottom.
about California. I was going to say, nigga, dollars just marketing. What you talking about?
It's not what's going on out here. It's a little more difficult to get a job.
There are hundreds. I'm looking at it right now online. There are hundreds of positions available.
Come try to get them damn positions. Come look at the situations that you'll be in. Like there's hundreds of positions, and this is a very large state. Where are you at? What is your proximity? What is your driving situation? What can you make it to? What can you be
I'm
dependable
talking about
as
the
to be
LA
exempt?
area.
That's LA area is huge, dog. It's huge.
Not
You know how long?
Oxnard, dude. Oxnard. Oxnard. There's
I,
Oxnard. What you talking about? There's at least
Yeah,
5 farms in there with
traffic there
strawberries.
is a nightmare.
They're
the
always
hell,
shorthanded. Always
the
shorthanded.
Ox. For me to go to Oxnard is 3.5 hours a day, just each way.
But you were saying
No,
that the jobs aren't there. The jobs are there.
It's
Not
3.5
there.
hours away, Carlos. What are you
It
saying?
doesn't matter.
That means it's
but
not
the job,
there. It's over
No, no,
there.
no, it doesn't.
It's
the
there,
job is
but it's
still
not
there.
there. I guess it's not here.
It's
Just
not.
I did a 2-second Google search and I came up with
Yeah,
hundreds.
and found a stat. Bring your ass right here and see if that. Yes, you can get a gig, but holding on to it, being in the positions that young people would be in, without help or family, it's pretty much
And now
it's
we're
a
thinking
wrap.
about excuses.
I'm not talking about excuses. I'm talking about reality. You tell me you gonna make the buses run different, and you a bad motherfucker, Carlos. But I don't think you can make nothing run different but your ass.
No, because you
Uh-huh.
said that Americans want those jobs.
America
I'm
don't they
saying
have access to those jobs. A lot of people that would do those jobs don't have access. These motherfuckers are riding up and down the street in 115-degree weather with cans on their back and on scoop shit. You don't think they'd go pick some motherfucking strawberries to get that fucking money?
no, they won't.
No, they won't. It's picking strawberries is a real thing, and that's why they were concerned about this. Because once they're out there, they have to live near those farms. So they get residents near the farms, and they're living like 4 or 5 people per house, and then they have to go to work with horrible conditions. A lot of times they were getting ripped off, and Dr. King knew about it. And that's what Chavez was working on, trying to get them right. So they shouldn't. I mean, they're picking our food. And it's also the same up in Silicon, up in it's called the
You're
the salad bowl area, Salinas, the same thing. There's
what?
so
You
many
think
farms up there.
standards exist on that job on Indeed though? Because I guess Carlos might be talking about Indeed. You think those standards would be there? Like they're trying to honey trap people on Indeed? I don't think so.
Dude, look at the farms are there. Period. The farms are there. If you can't go work out in the farm, you don't do them any good. We have migrant workers who come up and do that every single year, and so let's protect them rather than trying to demonize them. No one else wants those jobs,
Out
just like Carl was saying.
Yo, Top, you breaking up by a lot. We can't hear a damn thing
Altanas
you're
right
saying,
here,
man.
Land O'Lakes right here. All the now, no, still can't hear me. Well, fuck it, go ahead.
Top Cat talk. You're just
Why
breaking up.
can't he hear it? Go ahead, Top Cat.
No, I think he dropped out or he's popping
back.
back in. Yep, there you go.
Maybe. Can you hear me now?
Better, yeah.
That's better, yeah.
All right. Basically, I'm telling you, all these farm situations used to be down here where I live at. I live in the valley. I live in the citrus belt of California. I know what's cracking when it comes to this. So I know the working situation. I've seen the Chavez. The name of my library is Julio Cesar Chavez Library. I know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying on this subject, very in a micro way. So when he was doing that, that's when it's part of that. It wasn't the point of what you were saying, like, okay, it's just that they're living in terrible situations. They were taking advantage of these people. These girls were getting taken advantage of, and then they were using the immigration situation on all points of it. So he was trying to get that thing set straight in a point for everyone to be treated like humans, but on the point of the displacement of the jobs and where the money was going and what it was going to, I know he made a mistake because they were happened to live up with that with the regular points of the civil rights struggle. But once they put the point of them being illegals into it, that's why we're having some of the situations and the problems we're having with the borders to this day. That's all I want to get out.
Go look back at what Ronald Reagan thought about migration. Go look back at what George Bush Sr. thought about migration. They both supported it. So, things have changed because we have a new
It
administration.
made them rich. It made them
And
rich. And
well,
gave us all this food. It made them rich. They got they like from the bottom up. It helped industry and so many different means to have a situation like that for them. It made them rich. It made sense.
it still does. It still does. And their only difference is like Donald Trump is literally doing it because he thinks it's popular, and it's what Putin's doing in Russia. So and it's working because it worked. It's a far right platform, anti-immigration. It's been that way. The very first Make America, or very first America First movement was anti-immigration. So it's old Troy, and it works. But the bottom line is that it hurts your economy. Because once you get rid of the migrant workers, you don't have a workforce that to do those things.
I don't know why the migrant workers can't be in your own country. That's how it used to be. Now that trips me out that there isn't a circuit other than the circuit I know about that I'll be getting into. You know what I'm saying? You can't move around and actually at certain times of the year actually express, how good you are. And
But
you know what I'm
let
saying? Or you
me answer that
feel.
question. Let me
Go
answer that
ahead.
question. Okay. So for example, a lot of the farm
Tell
owners
them we
then
lost.
started moving their farms down to Mexico. Okay. And now they're down in Mexico, and that's what the migrants come to. They come over to work down there. Now you try to bring that food in the United States, and what happens to it? It gets tariffed. So you see the problem, how there's this problem with this loophole, like then Trump's just an idiot because
Yeah,
that hurts America is even more.
because that's what I'm saying. The areas that were down here that are more prominent grow areas, we have done nothing but logistic with we have beautiful land and beautiful area to grow stuff, just like Central California. Right now they see it saying that land was desolate, but then when that water came and filled up the old lake that's there, they're showing them where they can really grow, and it's taking away a lot of those different things, making it good for. That's what makes it great grow land is that it floods,
But
it eaves and flows. So
yeah,
right now, this is the boom that's covered with warehouses. And then they
but
moved those same farms you're talking about to the desert and to Mexico. So why did y'all do that when y'all paid more money? You didn't help the places where you were at. You were looking for industry first. It was 100% capitalist move
okay,
that hurt your country.
it was a
Go ahead.
horrible idea. It was a horrible idea in the first place to start making farmland around the Salton Sea because there's no water out there. And then what happens is they made it like you have this ocean, which the sea, which should be preserved, because it's a historical landmark. And when they started farming, all that runoff went into the water and it poisoned it. You can look this up. Like there should be thousands of pelicans out there, and all the runoff from the farmers, that the fertilizer got into the water, it poisoned the water. The fish drank that, and then the pelicans ate the fish, and all the pelicans died, and they went
All
extinct.
right, chat. We finna get
So
off of here, man. I hope
everything doesn't have to
everybody
be
have a good
farmland.
night.
Like,
Join the
we should
Discord if
never
you want
make
to
a
hear the
farm
rest of
area.
this
That's why it's
debate.
barren.
I will see
History
y'all
back
on the
when the
next one.
railroads were coming.